I think
Hello.
we're broadcasting. Hello, everybody.
I'll go with your wave of illusion as well, and assume we are.
Hangout's in there.
On my thing. oh, something's going on. There it is.
Oh, it's a.
There we go.
It's a nightmare. We've got the feedback nightmare going on already.
Oh, I've muted it. I've muted it.
I've muted it as well, but it took me a while to do it. Is all I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Sorry. I thought you were slagging me off.
No.
Hello, Dog Bomb.
Oh,
you are indeed first. Yeet, yeet.
Indeed.
Fire, and various other phrases of children.
Dog Bomb. Last time I spoke to Dog Bomb, he was planning on opening a board game cafe, and I want to know if he's
planning Scarborough one.
In the Scarborough one, this is it. And I want to know. Well, I don't know if it's still going ahead. I don't expect him. He's dabbing. I don't expect him to answer this here, but I want to know if he's going to be. If theoretically he did would he only serve vegan cheese and ham sandwiches?
I'd
cheese and ham. But no, I don't know. I don't know if I mentioned it because he's Jamie, so it's just all people I know, which is fine.
It's all right. None of my friends want to listen to me in person, let alone on YouTube.
Fair enough. Yes, we went to the Board Game Cafe, the Dice Cup, on Monday, didn't we, Luke?
Yes, we did.
And it suddenly, since the last time we've been there, which was only a month or two ago, it turned all vegan on us. I didn't eat. So the first time you and me met, I didn't eat, so I didn't realise that. So, are you sure it wasn't just vegan, not vegan before? I don't know. It might have been, I suppose.
But you had a toasty, and that didn't appear to be a vegan toasty.
No, but then again, this one didn't appear to be a vegan toasty particularly.
Yes, it did. The cheese looked horrific.
I want to know what the cheese is made of. I honestly, when I thought it was a vegan cheese and ham toasty, I thought, vegetarian ham. I'm not a stranger to vegetarian ham. I can cope with that. And it was only like in the middle of the night. That night, I sat up, bolt upright in bed, and went, "What the hell was that cheese made out
of?" It looked like plastic. Well, it looked like American cheese. The prepackaged slices and how they melt. The fact that they stay together.
There's not a lot, but a lot of cheese does look plastic, doesn't it? I'm looking at your burrs. No, it does. Plastic-looking cheese looks. The cheese.
Well, obviously, plastic-looking cheese looks fucking plastic, doesn't it?
There you go. You see, right? This, Luke, has been the bane of my existence for a good. Can you see it?
I'm going to be nice about this. What is that?
It's a bush.
Okay, it's a bush, right? That's fine because I thought it was one of the trees, and I was thinking that doesn't look like a tree.
It's a berry bush.
Yeah, and this is.
Yeah, I think it looks all right. I'll show you some of my other trees. This is my apple trees.
Man, they look good.
They look really all right, don't they?
I would only say I'd have taken the brush down a bit further, maybe. There's a lot of exposed branch. I mean, but it's a cool looking tree, so it kind of works anyway.
I think it'd be quite difficult. Some of them maybe to look at. That one bush is a bit further down.
Yeah, cool.
It just right, okay. Now these are going to be harder to see.
You've used herbs, haven't you?
I used herb. No, what on this?
On the trunk. Is there some herbs?
No. It's just. I need to touch all that up. There's a bit of that's dried super glue. Right. I need to touch them up. I think they look good.
I think they look great.
And then I might have to move my camera, which defies the point. But these are my.
They look really good.
That's my flock clump foliage trees.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can't see all of it in there.
Now, that previous tree, the very thick based one.
Yeah, this one.
Is that the lichen tree?
Yeah, this is lichen, and then I put flock. I put flock on the top. It came off
all right. That looks real good and rigid.
Yeah, no, it's well solid.
I was with you in your fears that was all just going to eventually just
fall off.
You're going to walk into the office one day, there would just be stuff around your trees.
No, it's
hobby autumn.
It's dipped in latex, so that's why.
Well, yeah, I mean, we discussed you doing that, and neither of us were entirely sure how that was going to go with the lichen because I've not used latex in that way. I've seen it used on the sea foam and stuff like that, but I'd never seen it used.
Yeah, well, I'm not convinced.
Lichens are weird stuff anyway.
I'm not convinced it's not going to rot under there, but for the time being, it's fine.
Well,
I like that one because
it depends how well it sealed it, and I suppose at the end of the day, it is not going to. Yeah. It's not going to like hermetically seal it, is it? So yes, I suppose one day it will just.
Yeah, but I'll be bored of them by then.
Anyway, you could just pull it all off and.
Yeah, and this is my.
That one looks really good.
Yeah, these are the seafoam ones. They are awesome.
They look fan-bloody-tastic.
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones that cost the most because these tree armatures, as they call them, these are like 12 quid for. No, 18 quid for 12, which is a lot of money, really.
Well, yes, but it's
when you count.
Not that bad, you know.
And then the seafoam was about. Seafoam was about a tenner, and then that liquid latex was about a tenner. So that's 40 quid for 12. You're talking, and then this is
yeah, that is all adding up a bit.
Yeah, this is foliage. This is like leaves. Now I've got half the bag of that left. But it's like
look good though, man.
They do look good.
Yeah,
I'm happy with them. They're a bit sharp.
Like hobby railway level. That
yeah. Well, I think that's where the technique comes from. But again, that was latex dipped. And then sprayed. I mean, and they're pretty solid. I mean, I don't want to bash them around too much because there's no point.
Yeah, but I've seen people do that and then bash them about a bit, and they really,
I mean,
it really works. You know,
bits are coming off it a little bit, but it's fine. So I've got how many trees have I got? I've got six of these seafoam ones. I've got 4 of the clump foliage ones, but I also like the fact that the my forest can be slightly variated in different types of trees, basically.
Yeah.
And then I've got 7, I think, of these apple trees. I've also made some apples, but I haven't glued them on because some apples up there. But I haven't glued them on yet.
Did you do them out of DAS
No, I didn't. I did them out of green stuff because I realised I had some green
stuff. Same stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I didn't have any DAS, but I've got some green stuff. So that's what I've been doing. Oh, and I'll show you something else as well.
Sorry, Jamie. I'm trying to stay quiet so you could see his stuff.
I've got there's me buildings. You can't really see. Anyway, I've been doing some buildings as well. So I'm relatively pleased, although it took me so long to do all those to do all that stuff. I'm not sure it was worth the time.
I just see Mark Cook's statement.
Oh, I'm not even looking.
He just said, just tuned in while we play with broccoli. Oh, God.
Have a nice Chinese food.
I think he went ages ago.
Oh, well, whatever. I don't care. So, yeah, we're playing. Look, this isn't broccoli. This is highly technical, scenic stuff. Look at that. I can't look at that because I need to work out a way of having that on.
It's wargaming broccoli, Mark.
Wargaming broccoli. That is exactly
wargaming cruciferous vegetables.
So I'm not actually prepared because I've come straight from work, and work took a little bit longer. And in addition, I have just got a new car, which I have not seen yet. So I spent some time sitting in my new car, going, "Oh,
did you get the car we discussed?"
We
discussed like it was part of. I was part of the decision. The car that you told me about is what I mean. Sorry.
I got the City Go.
Yes, you did. Is that Skoda?
It's a Skoda, yeah. It's like a Skoda Mini type thing. So I mean, it looks all right. I mean, as I say, my daughter's objects to it because it's not big enough for all of us. So now our previously smallest car is now going to be our biggest car. If that makes any sense. So the one we used to call the small car is now being called the big car. Hello, Jack. How are you doing?
I was going to say hello, Jack. Hi.
So you've missed some exciting broccoli talk, I think.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about this, Jamie. He's essentially making vegan terrain.
What? Because there's no animal products.
Well, I think you're making vegan appealing terrain. Maybe is a better
vegan appealing terrain. That's it. Yeah. What a beautiful tree.
Going back to our discussion about those paninis or paninis, whatever.
Yeah, the paninis. Yeah, the vegan paninis.
Yeah, I had the cheese and pepperoni one, thinking, well, my logic was thinking, oh, okay, well, I'll have pepperoni, or I was going to have the treat, so I thought, yeah, because it'll have some spices in it, some, it'll turn something flavorless into something at least. Absolute fail. It was awful.
Yeah. Oh well, it was the thing about vegan and vegetarian
texture. It was like, oh.
The thing about vegan food that I've noticed is that it kind of has this inferiority complex. Instead of embracing the veganness and vegetableness and things like a lot of vegetarian food does, it just tries to replace.
Yeah, I've never understood it. All those weird things like bacon and fake bacon and turkey, or whatever, all those pretend meats. I don't get it.
Well, I think some of it is to help kids who are transitioning to vegetarianism. Anyway, I mean that's certainly helped. Yeah, I don't know. I've got a lot of sympathy for vegetarians and vegans. My wife is a vegetarian. I've got friends who are vegans.
Is sympathy the right word? I don't mean. Well, no, I don't mean that. No, I don't mean that nastily. I mean, it's self-inflicted. It's not like they've suddenly gone, you've got to be vegan or vegetarian now. So you think, oh, okay, I feel sorry for this being pushed upon you.
Sympathy, empathy.
Okay, empathy. All right.
I recognise the reasons they are often vegetarian or vegan, and I have empathy for them. And I have also seen the conditions that some animals are kept in. And
don't get me wrong, I certainly will not criticize somebody for being vegan or vegetarian. Certainly based on whatever. I don't care if it's because you don't like the texture of red meat, or you don't like the taste of lamb, or whatever, or certainly because of the conditions in which animals are reared. Even and I'll even go as far as all the whole Jamie Oliver, Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall, we're rich and can afford organic food, but we'll still demand that you all buy it.
Yeah.
Even them, that organic thing is a whole load of bunkum. Those animals are still kept in far from ideal conditions. You can't tell me that they can produce that many organic bloody chickens to stock every Tesco's and Sainsbury's and Aldi and whatever, and these are all just roaming across the hillsides. We'd have chickens around our bloody ankles if that was the case.
Although chickens are kept in a lot better conditions than they used to be, mainly due to the EU.
But that's well. I mean, God, yeah. I mean, look,
yeah.
That's why we want to get out of there, so we can put our chickens back in crap conditions again.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, so
it started off well, hasn't it?
I am half a vegetarian, Jack, in that my wife is vegetarian, so I eat a lot of vegetarian foods, but I do eat meat sometimes.
Neither me or my wife are vegetarian, but I regularly cook us just vegetarian dinners.
Yeah,
a lot of the curries I make, I won't bother putting meat with them.
Well, I'm a crap cook, so most of my food's vegetarian because pot noodles don't have any meat in them. Right, okay.
Well, not stuff that can remember when it was meat.
No, they don't. They're vegetarian, the pot noodles. Even the chicken.
Completely?
Yeah, most of them. Chicken and bacon. The beef ones are. They're just flavoured. It's like crisps. Like beef flavoured crisps. Now, what I'm doing now, I wanted to do this on camera, and
you've just blown my world wide open.
Well, you can check. My dog's
here.
No,
I don't think I want to.
I can't show you my dog because the camera. What are you looking for?
I've seen your dog.
No, I was showing the kind people at home. What I'm doing here, look, is I'm making a wet palette. So this is my highly sophisticated Tupperware container with a piece of sponge in, which is probably going to go mouldy at some point because it keeps getting wet. But never mind.
Right, I'm gonna actually stand up for Dan a little bit here.
What?
Which I try not to do. That is as much as a wet palette should ever be, and don't bother spending stupid amounts of money on a purposely built wet palette.
Yeah, David Watkins. Right, okay. We're talking to you. And now this is parchment paper. It's not baking paper.
Yeah, it's got to
be parchment paper. And the reason for that is baking paper or greaseproof paper is completely waterproof, whereas this is very slightly water permeable. So what you do is you stick that down there in a very technical way, like that, look. Like that. And now what's going to happen is it will wick up some of the moisture from this sponge, and very slowly, and this will be just constantly slightly damp. And now I can put paint on there, and it will keep its consistency, or largely its consistency. It'll slightly get watered down. It'll keep its consistency,
but to a good level, I think.
But to a good level, yeah. But it won't dry out. So I could leave that, especially if I put the lid on it. I could leave that for weeks if I put the lid on it, and the paint on my palette wouldn't dry out. Whereas if I used a normal dry palette like Luke does, my paint would dry out within 10 minutes, maybe.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially with the lights I've got around me at the minute.
Yeah. Our expensive studio lights.
Nope. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Wet palettes are fine, as in proper wet palettes, but you just don't need to. What Dan has is perfect good. The only thing I would maybe advise is to actually buy a pad of wet palette paper, just because it does work so perfectly at what it's designed to do. And
because it can be quite difficult to actually find parchment paper. The only place I could find it is in Asda. They don't sell it.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's not really something that people... Because people don't really differentiate between parchment paper and baking paper.
That's true, yeah.
Sorry, carry on. You were lecturing to the masses.
Well, I'm just saying, you just don't need to spend... Wet palettes are great. You just don't need to spend 15, 20 quid on a Winsor & Newton. Because the trouble is, you're only going to get something branded. You're not going to get like a pound store wet palette. Or if you do, a pound store wet palette is a Tupperware with a bit of sponge in it.
Yeah.
That's what a pound store wet palette is, you know.
I'll just get a bit of Tupperware. I've lost one of my good brushes, which is alarming.
Just falling under the desk or something. You won't have gone that far.
I don't know. I did throw one away recently. Maybe I threw the wrong one away. I'll look through all my other brushes. So I apologise for not being ready.
Mark, how is life at the top
as a CEO? Yeah,
CEO, cookie eater, something.
If anyone doesn't know, Mark Cook has recently been appointed CEO.
Well, crowned. It's a better.
Crowned, yes.
Crowned, right.
CEO of Google.
And that's why none of your searches are working right now.
That's why aircon is at top of Google.
Google everything, and it said, "Did you mean aircon?"
Do you think you'll get into ether fields? What's that? Ether fields. Oh, is it a game? Have you heard of it?
Some of these minis are crazy. No, I've never even heard of it. Ether fields, no.
Oh, I haven't even got my silly.
That's unusual for somebody to mention when I haven't sort of stumbled across. I was
Google it. Google it now. Quick, Google it.
No, I can't because everything's in the way.
Oh, I'll Google it then.
Yeah, good.
Right. Well, the problem is, I'm not even ready to start painting.
Well, you've got time to Google the bloody thing, isn't it? Just ignore the first line where it says, "Did you mean aircon?"
I've been out saving lives, Luke, on the front line of mental health. What have you been doing? Selling people stupid games.
Yeah, sanding chairs. Yeah,
sanding chairs.
Yeah,
glamorous. Oh, looks a bit weird. It's a new major miniature board game. Oh, you said you weren't looking at it.
No, Mark just said on the.
Oh, right, okay. It's done by the author of This War Is Mine, Noshima Hex. Edge of Downfall. It'll not only test your logical skills.
Was the same guy as Hiroshima Hex.
No, I didn't either. I can't see any minis though. Hang on. Oh, I can't even see that.
Oh, I presumed we were talking about a miniatures game. I don't know.
It's a board game, but it's got some miniatures in it. They look all right. They look a bit fiddly. They look quite Art Nouveau. Maybe not.
Really, it's got me intrigued. Very good. Thank you. Just got back in the early hours this morning. It's a heck of a commute. Do you mean to Denmark?
Is that where they're from? Hush, hush.
Yeah, that's where he was the other week. He was in Denmark. Yeah.
Oh,
he works generally remotely, I believe, but obviously the company is from Denmark.
I didn't know that.
Well, why would you?
Why would I? Because I meant to keep up with the trends in board gaming. That's why I should do.
For what?
for my highly intelligent and up to the minute podcast that I do.
I thought you left the dice tower.
The miniatures do look interesting.
You got me intrigued by saying they look Art Nouveau.
Well, the women look a bit Art Nouveau. Yeah, I would stand by that. They look Art Nouveau, actually.
Yeah,
I like Art Nouveau. It's one of my favourite styles.
Denmark, a nice place, isn't it, Mark? I have very fond memories of Denmark, especially when you put up those pictures of Tivoli Gardens, which I had extremely fond memories of. I'd like to go back to Denmark at some point.
I've never been to Denmark. I don't even want to leave my house most of the time.
We don't want you to leave your house most of the time either, so it's fine.
I'm not a traveller.
I am a traveller.
Yeah.
Not in I turn up on a local village green and annoy the locals sort of sense, but
right. I don't even know what colour I'm meant to be painting these things.
What are you even painting? Have you decided? Riddler Men.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do is I've got the get lost. For God's sake. I've got the last of the multiple things of Batman. So I've only got these civilians.
What the heck? You really have.
I've got these Riddler men.
Painting off camera. Sorry.
Oh, you actually painted?
Yeah, I was holding it right up to me.
I've got these Riddler men. I've got the other Riddler men. So 8 Riddler men, and then 4 of these weird. I don't know if they're meant to be robots or stormtroopers or what.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure what they were supposed to be. They look a bit androidy, but they also look like somebody in a suit.
Yeah,
they look like the lead guy from the video game Crisis. If you've ever played that,
no, I haven't because I'm a grown man.
Part of the Far Cry series, but it's in that. I think it's from the same studio.
I'm not even interested. Jamie Buckley will be interested because he's pubescent, but I'm not.
Classiest theme park I've been to. Yes, well, it's certainly if my memory serves me correct, I would completely agree with you.
I object to all this Denmark talk taking away from talk of me. Right.
Anyway, Mark.
Right, I'm going to go downstairs and find the.
Finally.
Yeah, find the things. The little style guides for these dudes because I don't want to paint them wrong. So I will be back shortly.
Yeah, I must have been. I don't know how old I was, Mark, when we went on a family holiday, which circumnavigated bits of like Germany and into Denmark and stuff and Holland and we went to Tivoli Gardens. I just remember it being because it's right in the middle of Copenhagen. Is it not? Or I'm sure I have that right in my mind that it was right in the middle of a city, sort of, and I'm assuming that was Copenhagen. Yeah, and as I said to you, I remember just staying late to see because they have all these lanterns and lights and everything in the trees. So we purposely went later in the day and then stayed late to see it all sort of come to life. And I just remember it was awesome. I just remember walking through this real sort of nice wooded area. With roller coasters suddenly coming above you, above the paths and stuff. And it was just, fond memories. I hadn't thought about it for so long till I realised what I was looking at in your picture on Facebook, and it just all sort of came flooding back to me. I'm very worried that I can actually hear Dan coming back. I was hoping he'd decide against it. But such is life. Such is life. So how often do you have to go to Denmark, Dan? What are you painting, Luke? Sorry, I'm painting Burrows and Badgers, as I have been for a little while now. And this is a Fox Rogue. I'm going to paint him up. And what I've done is I've made some like long grass sections. These are way too long, and I'm going to trim them all back. But I essentially glued them together to make like strips, so I can sort of snip bits off, and I'll make it so he's like creeping through the long grass like he's stalking someone, ready for an ambush. Everyone loves a foxy rogue. Well, my wife used to call me a foxy rogue, but I don't think she does anymore. It's more like a lazy hippo now. It's quite like a hippo in. I don't think it would very fit in Burrows and Badgers, would it? Fox, squirrel, badger, shrew, hippo. No. God, I can hear him coming. He's on his way back. Sorry, guys. I can't. I'll stop making excuses for
I'm
him.
back.
I told you we'd come back.
Anyway, not back yet. Oh.
Anyway, yeah, and then Matthew said that he didn't like Dan either, and
Oh, how rude! How rude! Right, I've got to find. Hey, look! What I've done is I've got these boxes, and they fit perfectly into the Batman box.
Oh, okay.
They're
just like those rigid. Oh, they open. Do they open like long ways? Not like.
No. They're open. That's. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. It was just the angle you had it in, the way you open it quickly.
It's because I'm.
Yeah, they're kind of that like hard plastic but thin
deck boxes.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
I suppose you don't know what a deck box is, considering you're meant to be.
I do know what a deck box is. That's why I was describing it and confirming it was as I thought it was.
Doesn't even know what a deck box is. Pretty pathetic for a board game shop.
Sorry, David. Shut up. David, Burrows and Badgers is. I don't think I'll be able to. Oh no, it's a miniatures game set. I'm assuming you're English with a name like David Watkins. It's set in a very sort of Wind in the Willows, mouse guard, mice and mysticsy kind of, anthropomorphic animals.
But woodland animals, none of this.
Yeah, all very British woodland animals. For the most part. In fact, almost completely.
Well, not your beaver. Well, I suppose it depends on your
the beaver, but also there is a platypus you can get, and there's a couple of bits here and there. But anyway, neither here nor there. And it's a skirmish game, sort of in again, you might not know, Frostgrave kind of thing. So you've got somewhere between like 6 to 10 people, something like that. And you kind of make up your little faction, which can have like little. I mean, they're all the kind of classes you would expect. Wizards and rogues and warriors and those sort of things. But they're just woodland creatures. And I'll probably I don't know when I'll ever get to play the game, but I'm finding it very, very enamoring and enjoyable to paint the miniatures because they're just so blooming charming.
I haven't. I've also bought into this folly, which is what all my trees are for. But I haven't. Sorry, I'm just reading people's comments. I haven't painted mine yet. I've just been on the terrain for some reason. But
yeah, which is the bit I'm looking forward to getting to as well. But Dan's jumped well ahead of me on that.
Yeah, well, I just don't get the terrain. Although I haven't enjoyed doing the terrain as much as I remembered enjoying. No, I found it quite stressful now. I don't know whether that's because my mood of late has been not conducive to not being stressed, if that makes any sense. Go
on.
But the thing I've not enjoyed about it, I think, I was trying to analyse why I wasn't enjoying it as much as because I have made terrain before and enjoyed it. But it doesn't give me the same rewards as doing miniatures does, because you can't just sit there and do it till it's finished.
Essentially, Dan needs instant gratification, or it isn't good enough. From the discussion we had the other day, that was definitely the conclusion I came from it at the end.
Yeah, you have to wait till bloody things to dry, and I don't like it.
Goddamn physics, huh?
It's multiple. Oh, I haven't even got any bloody water. I'll be back.
You are. Jack, I've never painted a miniature. Have you ever thought about painting a miniature, Jack? Is it something that's interested you, or are you just not for you? Yeah, everybody who doesn't paint miniatures and board game stuff wants everybody else to do it for them, Jack. That's always the way. Do the types of animal affect their abilities? Sounds fun and charming. So the way it works, David, is like the stats for a creature are all based on polyhedral dice. The range that you would use in D&D from D4 up to I presume D20. So like the stronger or faster or more wily or wise or noble or whatever they
Talking
are,
about me as well. Wise and noble. Are you talking about me again?
or bloated or
definitely talking about me.
yeah, the better they are in the thing, the higher dice the bigger dice they will roll to try and get a success for that thing. So although like my little one of my favorite little dudes here, my shrew Zerka, who's an angry little shrew, he may lack strength, but he may roll only a D4 or a D6 for his strength of something. What also happens is if you roll the maximum die roll of whatever dice you're rolling, you automatically add 7 to it. So even a little fella like this guy can take down something big or at least hurt it. And obviously he could be a lot faster, and stuff like that. Yeah.
I've accidentally ruined one of my brushes, which is upsetting.
How have you done that?
I don't know if it was me or one of my children, but leaving it upside down in the water things. So you can see, look, it's all, you see, it's just bent at the tip there.
Oh no.
I've just put some shampoo on it.
I was gonna say, yeah, condition it and get
hope for the best.
Straight as you can. It might.
It's annoying. It's one of my posh ones, my £5 brushes.
Yeah, Shrew Zerka kind of it certainly it attracted me in a way that I didn't.
He wasn't aware he was attracted to shrews before this game, but
now it's a deep underlying passion within me.
Yeah. Right, let's have a look. I can actually start painting now. Where's the middle of the here?
Yeah, we're only 40 minutes in after we started.
Is it 40 minutes, really?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's 20 to 10.
I've been doing stuff. I told you I was going to be. I told you it was going to take me a while. I've been working.
Blame it on the kids. What?
No.
No, that's. I'm just reading what Jack said.
Yeah. No, I blame it on the my.
So, Mark, you actively avoid a game with miniatures.
What a
because
pathetic.
you know you'll never paint them. Well, they don't need to be painted.
No.
I mean, yes, it's nice when they are. I'll blame it on the kids for ruining your brush, right?
Oh, right. I see. Yeah. It is their fault, probably, possibly.
Knowing Dan, it's very unlikely that he has ruined that brush.
No, I think it probably was me, to be honest.
Oh, right, okay.
I think it was
the one time I try and help him out.
No, it's because I'm doing all this terrain. I was probably just, I don't know what I'll have done. But normally I take relatively good care of brushes because it costs money. I don't want to buy any more. Anyone
would have thought you were from Huddersfield?
Anyone would have thought me. They do. Someone talked. Am I coming out as completely whited out? Do I need to reduce my white balance or something?
It does look quite whited out.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can do that with my magic thing.
Yeah, but then you have a big play grubs on the board. I prefer it if there are standees. I've got a couple of games with minis, but they're quite sparse. Fair enough. I disagree with you, but horses for courses, Mark. Yeah.
There we go. Any better? Yeah, look at that. That's better.
Oh yeah, it looks way better. Yeah. Did you turn it off?
I turned the brightness down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I presume that's what you meant.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest mistake is isn't not painting a game with minis. It's painting a couple of the minis or undercoating the minis and then not bothering to paint them. That's when I stop. That's the worst thing about being a minis painter. So if you get, which is why I'm desperately trying to finish Batman, because I don't want to move on from Batman, even though I want to do bows and badges, because I want it painted.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, and I'm terrible for that.
So if I don't have it all painted, I mean, I've slightly gone off Batman as well these days, but only slightly.
But that's odd because you're not known for doing something and leaving it alone.
No, it's
very unlike you.
It is. It's a novelty. Again, doing these Batman minis. The good thing about these Batman minis, though, Luke, is there's only like 3 or 4 colours you need to do for them.
I'm just not really going to react to it anymore.
Well, that makes me even gladder because that means I know I'm getting to you.
You know, you're getting to me anyway. You didn't need it confirmed by my silence and derision.
Yeah. No, but I really like these guys. If I undercoated this grey that I'm painting them, then I wouldn't need to do all. In fact, I was thinking the other day, these guys are the ones that I really should have contrast paints on because most of this is going to be black.
Yeah, black contrast paints I've seen it does a great job.
Yeah. That's what all the reviews are saying. It's saying the black ones and the brown ones are really quite good.
Yeah, and the blue naturally because Games Workshop could never ever have the Ultramarines not look top.
Do people actually play the Ultramarines? Because I mean, they're so dull, aren't they?
I don't actually think they do. I've never known anybody past a teenage age that collected Ultramarines.
But I mean, teenagers all go for Blood Angels and Space Wolves.
Yeah, I would say general, but the only examples I could think of friends-wise who ever had Ultramarines were when we were much, much younger, and they moved on pretty quick from it.
I need a bigger brush. This has been a problem that's been plaguing me for a while.
On that little quote there, what does everybody think of the game Jaws?
I've not seen it.
It's on the hotness at the minute. It looks quite cool, and I have a great liking for Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws is possibly the best film ever made. I'm not saying it's the best, my favorite film, but it is.
It is a great movie.
It is a great movie because it's very well shot, but there's no snobbishness to it. Do you know what I mean? There's no pretension with Jaws. It's just a masterclass in suspense and character. I do like Jaws.
One of the worst things to ever happen to
the shark.
Well, yeah, I mean, as in real life, kind of thing. As in,
I see. Yeah,
gave sharks, Well,
I don't think anyone really cuddled many sharks.
Yeah, it's often considered in that sense, but I suppose yes, nobody was exactly
enamored with sharks.
Yeah, and I suppose they didn't exactly make it's not like there were people on Amity Island going, "Oh, there's a shark! Awesome! Let's go out and have a look. Let's have a swim out and see what it's like." They were all scared. I suppose actually, it probably didn't do any harm to the standing of a shark.
What's his face says it is, doesn't he? The author who wrote the original book, he says he regrets it thoroughly because of the reputation it gave sharks. But I'm not convinced. I mean,
as I said it, and the more I actually gave it real thought, I was like, well, no, actually, it probably didn't hurt the shark any more than it already was.
Yeah, I was going to say they shouldn't keep eating people, should they? If they want good,
they don't help themselves. They are not good PR. Well, they do help themselves. Actually, that's the problem. They never ask permission. They never check if it's one of those idiots on a jet ski that we're more than happy.
More than happy.
They just go willy-nilly at it, and and just eat any old who. And sometimes it's a nice person.
Have you ever been on a jet ski?
No, I haven't, but I've always wanted to, and I fully meant to on my honeymoon in Mexico, but I just never got around to it.
Idiot remark of yours then shows you for the jealous fool you are.
What?
Well, you're talking everyone on the jet
ski. Like a sort of underlining
Freudian desire to be one of those macho men on a jet ski. I've never been on a jet ski, but I've got no desire to. Because I'm a better man than you.
How do you figure that?
How do I figure that I'm a better man than you? There are a multitude of ways, Luke Pryor. A multitude of ways. I quite fancy. I used to do power kiting. That was one of my hobbies for a while. We were power kited.
Is that when you sat in the little go-karty thing and you?
No, well, I never got that far. But a power kite is basically something that's a kite that is very powerful. So it's like a mini hang glider, basically, or a mini.
Oh,
parachute.
right. Okay. It's just a really good kite.
A really good kite with
Okay.
with strength behind it as opposed to maneuverability, basically.
Yeah.
So you're talking like a 6 foot wide kite that looks like a parachute. You know,
I've definitely seen them. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to own one of those, and it was ace. Yeah. I didn't ever get the guts to get one that was big enough to completely lift me from the ground because when it starts really pulling you and you're getting dragged across a field, you start feeling quite out of control.
Yeah,
and obviously there's ways of stopping the kite, but that involves you not panicking. And I was never very good at not panicking when that was happening to me. So I'm just like, ah! but it was quite awesome. Just the wind pickup, and then you suddenly get dragged across the field is quite an elemental force, obviously.
I certainly always liked kites. Bye, Mark. All the best.
Piss off. I like kites as well. So I should be looking at the chat. Sorry.
I believe the past tense is
power kicked. Everyone's going.
Oh yeah. See you later, everybody.
See you later. What they should do is just leave it running, so it looks like. So at least we can delude ourselves into people are watching.
Yeah. Do us a favour, people. Leave it on.
We've
all got egos, you know. Some more than others.
My ego is in full proportion to my talents. That's the difference between you and me. So yeah, no.
How do you spell ignorant?
What?
Can somebody just spell ignorant for me?
Funny. My sidekick, Mr. Delicio, he's played Jaws because I've seen him post a picture of it.
Well, yes, there you go. So you did know about the game.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I said I did know about the game.
I thought you said you didn't.
No. Well, okay. I was lying if I said it.
There you go. Right, got to the truth.
Yeah. Oh man, sweaty up here now. It's 45 degrees in France.
Mark, is that how you spell ignorant? Is it? Oh, I do like Mark.
No, he's coming on the podcast.
Yeah, I know you. Well, sorry, I didn't know he was, but you told me that he was on the list of people you showed me.
Yeah, we need to get Jack on the podcast as well. This is my roundabout way of asking Jack if she wants to come on my podcast.
Oh, I'm remembering Jack from last time we did this now.
Yeah, you see.
Because I remember I very misogynistically assumed Jack was a guy.
Yeah, because you are a misogynist.
Well, because annoyingly I was doing it again.
Oh, yeah.
It was till you said it again.
So I said she.
Then he went, oh.
Yeah. It's spelt in a weird way, in a feminine way. Or it could be French, I suppose.
But annoyingly, the thing is, it's such a long name. I'm just assuming that the K has been cut off.
I got you.
And I realise that's stupid of me.
Speaking of France, did you see the temperature today in France?
I'm very aware of the temperature in France because my mum and dad are there at the minute.
It is hot.
It is ridiculous. My mum and dad said they just haven't left the house.
But they got air conditioning.
No. See, I mean, luckily it's a medieval village, so the walls
are very thick, but still, it's still going to be an absolute nightmare. It's 45 degrees C in France at the moment, which is about 113 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. And I know sometimes people.
Yes, it's the hottest ever recorded area in France, and the area that it was recorded is about a 40-minute drive from our house.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So
I think that's what Dad said, something like that.
So yeah. So it must be. I think I would die because sometimes Americans.
You would.
I think sometimes Americans. Well, I think people are dying, aren't they?
Well, they did in Paris when they had that heat wave about 8 or so years ago.
Yeah.
Loads of the elderly died because they just weren't prepared for it.
And in addition, there's been some children die as well because they are drowning. because they're jumping into rivers and things.
Oh, really?
To cool off, and the cold water shock
Wow. Oh,
is causing them to drown. It's horrendous. Oh, that'd be nice. So yeah,
for a year, Jack. That's cool.
Yeah.
Just have opened a window.
I just said.
Oh, if only you were there, Mark. If only you were there to help the nation of France out. But no, you had to go to Denmark, where it was just nice and hot.
Well, we get weather warnings at work about vulnerable people because I work with older people.
Yeah.
Currently, so we do whenever there's a heat wave, we get It's quite incredible how well prepared. What kind of systems are in place to kind of warn people of things like that? You know what I mean? So every time it's going to be particularly cold or particularly warm, we'll get a weather warning through the email, and then we have to, just reminding us to ensure that our patients are well hydrated and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just think about it a bit more, sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be when I first qualified as a nurse that we used to have people on all these medications, which kind of quadrupled the chance of you getting sunburned. So even if you went out in, even faintly hot weather, you used to get red raw sunburn. And if you went out in really, really sunny weather, people used to really, really get really badly burnt. But we don't use those medications anymore. So that's a lot better. But
when I was backpacking, there's a few types of, I'm sure it was the malaria medication. There's a few types that you could take and they advise you to take. And the one that generally people use, because it gives you the least nausea and all sorts of side effects, it makes your skin more photosensitive.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because obviously you don't
like to be in the sunny area.
Not. I mean, it didn't bother me too much, but
I don't tend to burn that badly. Although I do more these days now. I am significantly balder. I mean, I've always been faintly bald ever since I was like in my mid-20s, but now I have no hair on my head.
The only time I did particularly really badly burn, I'm very much like you. I think my skin's too for to burn any decent amount. But I went when we went over 1 year, and I went with my brother and his family. Oh my good God! I thought it was a balmy glow in the area.
Oh, what?
He's turned up despite the fact he's got so much to do before he buggers off to Manchester tomorrow.
Was he going to Manchester? Oh, yeah, Dice Talcon tomorrow.
Yeah. I think he said he was going up because he couldn't get a decent flight.
I actually nearly
staying the night, I think, in Manchester before he goes on Sunday.
Okay. Oh, you should stay the night at my house. What an idiot! Why don't you stay at my house? Oh, you've got friends in Manchester anyway, haven't you, Matthew? That's fine. And also, like I said earlier, I was telling everybody, Matt said he doesn't really like you and he just used you to get where he is now. Well, he's not done a very good job, has he? Because he's
terrible choice. But
terrible choice because I've got no influence, and nor has he. So there you go.
I didn't want to oppose. I'm stopping in a hotel.
Oh, Matthew, you could have stayed with me. Although it would have may have been a pain in the ass to.
Are you coming online, Matt? Are you coming online for a chat again?
Yeah, I'll send him the link
if you wish.
He doesn't have to. We could send it Mark as well, couldn't we?
Twice in 1 week. I don't know if Mark's still there. Haven't you got a podcast to edit? I'm like a bronze god. I'm sure you are, Matthew. I'm sure your indoor tendencies have kept you, with a sun blushed like you're on Love Island kind of complexion.
Where am I? Okay. You don't have to come on though.
No, you don't. No obligation. But I am very sick of the voice of Dan.
My voice is like a beautiful clarion bell.
There is something oddly satisfying about your voice. But
your voice is good because you get really satisfaction when it stops. It's like banging your head against a brick wall.
That's low-hanging fruit, sir.
Yeah.
Are you still there, Mark? Because you are more than welcome to come on for a little chat as well, if you like. Tell us how it's going at Hush Hush. And
I'm just bloody inviting him. We could invite Jack as well, but I think she's working. Are you around to come on, Jack? There you go. I've just.
Don't talk to me today about people working and doing something hobby-based while they're at work. Because my friend Stephen, who Matthew met at UK Games Expo, he posted a load of pictures of claustrophobia miniatures today. Did you see that on the group?
Oh, I have. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he did all them at bloody work. Now,
what does he do for a living?
Basically, he's like essentially he's like a mule for Cambridge University Press. Basically, he sets up rooms and sort of like maintenance, kind of stuff. I'm trying to think of the best word to describe it.
A tech. He's a tech.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. But because he does so much like heavy lifting and this and that and whatever, he is basically mandatory. He has mandatory extra breaks where he has to like stop and sit down for a bit. So I think out of his like 8-hour day, he ended up basically having what looked like a sort of 3.5 hours worth of break, and basically painted the box of claustrophobia and did a very good job.
He did do a good job, much better. Well, I don't know about much better than me. I mean, I'm not ashamed of my.
No, they are much.
Yeah, no, I'm not ashamed of my claustrophobia models, but mine were very quick and dirty, basically.
Yeah, and that's what I've gone for with mine for the most part. To be fair, I did the troglodytes.
Yeah.
I did them like pretty quick and dirty. I wasn't too fussed. I just wanted them to look okay and perfectly fine.
Yeah.
The demons I'll take a bit more time over. Yeah.
Well, I didn't. I did mine, but I did mine with my first ever experiment with. Was it original source lighting or what it was called?
Zenith lighting, yeah, zenithal lighting, yeah.
Well, it wasn't zenithal lighting because I didn't spray them zenithal. Is zenithal lighting?
Is that what that means? I was thought it just meant essentially that you were essentially displaying a light source, or
I think zenithal is just when you spray the bottom black and the top grey or white.
Oh, okay, right, yes. Oh, then yes, the other one is object source lighting.
Object source lighting. That's what I did it. Yeah. Yes. What do you do for a living, Jack? Working from home. My wife works from home sometimes. She says. Although I've recently got the software on my laptop so I can walk. Yeah, Matthew's not coming on because he's recording a podcast. I don't know what podcast he could be recording.
As long as it's a good one, the new one.
The new one. Because he was in a podcast before, but that finished about this time last year.
I don't know. Never heard of
it. What's it called? It is this time last year. Has
it been a year now, is it?
Yeah, well, sort of. Not officially, but I left at Dice Tower Con, although the guys didn't realise I left until I got back and emailed them. But I left after Dice Tower.
It's the new one. Good. That's fine.
Good one.
You're allowed to go then, Matt. Thanks. That's fine.
How many are you recording at the same time? Just one or two?
Oh, I'd never thought about that. What, like? Do you mean they do the other? No, I don't think they ever record one back to back because he said they do like a week's worth of prep.
Yeah. Project managed hiring for a health system. I did. As in hiring doctors and nurses, or hiring for people to operate the system. God, these are dull to paint.
What are you going to whinge about now? You said you were looking forward to painting them.
Yeah, I know, but because they were going to be easy. But I wish I'd got an airbrush. By the time I get an airbrush, I'm not going to have any miniatures to paint with them.
Oh, you've done the two-parter, have you? Cool, excellent. I'm looking forward to the two-part because that sounds interesting. Because I didn't know about that one, which is why I enjoyed the last one. Well, I knew. Well, the stupid thing with the DB Cooper one was I did know about DB Cooper.
So we're talking about Death by Monsters now, if anyone's interested, which is a podcast from Matthew Jude, which is fantastic.
We're talking about Matthew's thing and we're praising him, so he has to run away now because this just makes him uncomfortable. Yeah, I did know about DB Cooper, but only because did you ever see the movie Up the River?
No.
It was a comedy movie about
I've seen Up.
Yeah. No, right. It's not.
I've seen River Wild. Is it anything like that?
No, I'm going to shut up now. Okay.
Yes. You were on about Up the River before. It's got like Adam Sandler or some ridiculous comedian.
No, it had. No, it had. I'm trying to remember. It was the guy who was the gingerhead guy who was Dr. Evil's son. He was in one. He was it. One of the guy who played Scrappy in the movie version of Scooby Doo. Not Scrappy. Who's the hippie one with Scooby Doo all the time?
I'm going to leave you floundering. I know exactly who you're talking about, but I'm leaving you floundering.
Well, exactly. You know who I mean. Him.
Seth Rogen and the one who played Shaggy. Yeah.
Shaggy. Thank you.
Seth Green?
No, Seth Green. Yes.
Seth Green.
He's a ball game. It was a movie about these three guys who their friend passed away, but when they were kids, they were all obsessed with this guy, DB Cooper, who'd stolen money, blah, 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 jumped out of a plane. And I thought it was just part of the story. I thought they made up a fantastical thing. I didn't realize at the time and for years that DB Cooper was the actual real American, thing,
Hey, you joke, Mark, about America's healthcare system, but let's see where we are in 5 years' time after Brexit and after Mr. Trump very generously comes in and does some trade deals, as where we're desperate for trade. We're going to place ourselves in a very difficult situation. I do not have much optimism for NHS over the next 5 years. So there you go.
So I'm happy for you guys to talk about politics, but I just so don't want to.
No, that's fine. I can't believe how close we are to getting bloody Boris Johnson as Prime Minister. He's absolutely baffling to me.
But to be fair,
Hunt's no better. I'm not saying Hunt's any better.
Exactly.
But at least he kind of. I mean, he's an evil incompetent, but at least he's not an evil incompetent buffoon. Is my it's a possibility of people believing that English people, which we are completely idiotic, and everyone knows that now. But the fact it's like electing someone from the Monster Raving Loony Party. You know what I mean? He's a buffoon. He's a joke. He's an idiot. He's obviously duplicitous, a lying bastard.
Yeah.
It makes me upset. So there you go. Right, I won't talk about bloody Boris Johnson. I mean, there's no good choices there, is there?
No.
There never were.
Well, again, wouldn't that be two prime ministers in a row who weren't actually elected into?
No, because Theresa May got in after an election, didn't she?
Did she do an election in the end?
She did, yeah. Remember, because she did one for strong and stable government and all that kind of stuff. She called a general election.
Against who? Corbyn?
Yeah.
Oh, of course she did. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, she did. Sorry, politics is absolutely not my thing. Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. But yeah, no, there was an election, but she was made prime minister without an election, and then she called a second.
Yes, right.
She called an election, and then she lost more.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, sorry. Yes, I do remember now. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, the whole
wasn't UKIP? Didn't UKIP come out one of the best out of it? If I remember rightly, that general election.
No, not at all. UKIP never. UKIP? No.
Who was it?
Well, the Tories. The Tories.
Did she end up losing loads of seats?
She did end up losing loads of seats, and the Labour.
Did she even lose her own seat or whatever?
No, she didn't lose her own seat. No? The idiot.
No, I can't remember.
No, UKIP never do it well in the elections. I think Brexit Party probably have got a good chance now, but UKIP never have done well in
party.
Brexit Party's Farage's new party.
Oh, great.
So he's left UKIP because they were going too right wing. And to be fair, they are horrifically right wing these days. And then he started his other party called the Brexit Party, which no one knows their policies, but yet still voted for anyway in the European elections.
Wow.
Because people are dicks. But anyway, what can you do? What can you do? Other than weep.
Join a Danish company.
Join a Danish company.
And cover off to Denmark is probably
one
of the better ideas.
Who's this bloody idiot?
Surely. Are you not coming online, Mark? I thought he sent you a link.
I did send a link, but I don't think either of them have seen it. I'm going to...
Or Mr. Delicio?
I'm sending Delicio one now.
Is Matthew gone? Is it safe to come in? But yeah, please, Mike, come in here and stop him talking about fucking politics. Because I don't like looking stupid, and I know politics will make me look stupid.
You do look stupid. I sent you a link through Facebook if anyone is interested in coming in. Yeah.
Where's Mr. Brisman? I haven't spoken to Mr. Brisman for a while.
It's quite late for Mr. Brisman. He's probably dying of heat exhaustion because it's 15 degrees C in Sweden.
That's so true.
I don't know what the summers are like in Sweden, actually. Are they...
I imagine they have good summers, but it's probably more like the height of our spring, I would imagine, kind of.
Yeah,
I imagine like 19's about as high as it would ever get. I imagine they have good summers, but it's probably he's here.
No,
I just suddenly heard myself. And thought, what the hell's going on?
Hello. Get a grip. Turn the echo off, you.
Good summers, but he's here.
That's right. I forgot. I got to put my.
We're moving. The motion sickness.
Relax.
It's like being on a really weird roller coaster where you sit face to face with someone.
Are we going to get a tour of your house?
Or I could watch it on YouTube, I guess.
What's your YouTube?
How are you, Mr. Delicio? Are you well? He's just ignoring me.
He's too busy being incompetent.
Bollocks. He looks about as organised as you.
CNC.
I'm trying to do this the simple way, and you make me put my headphones on and put my microphone in.
You don't have to put your headphones on. You just need to turn off the YouTube thing. That's all.
What a fuss. Exactly, Sean.
Is that Sean? I call him Scene because I'm a rebel like that.
Because you're a knobhead.
Yeah, as well. What is that? Is that our Sean or is it some faking Sean? We need proof of identity. Tell us what happened to you on Sunday night.
Oh, is that Sean Rice? Is that who that is?
Might be.
Oh, if it is, please tell the story, Sean.
It's not our story to tell, though, unfortunately.
No, it absolutely isn't our story to tell, which is a horrible thing to do to the viewing masses of
7
other people.
Mike Glisco can't even work his microphone now. Look at him. What?
Look at him just.
It is Sean.
Is it Sean? I love the fact that you've said it out loud. Ish, in a typed sense.
All right, I'm going to invite Sean on the thing as well. Yeah. I'm going to invite you over. I probably shouldn't be inviting all these people over. So you're more than welcome to join us, Sean, but don't worry if you don't want to. I'm sending you the link via Facebook. Ooh. I suppose it's rude of me to do that to some people and not to others, isn't it? But still.
I must admit, as Mike popped up and I said, come on the thing, Mike, I did think, but we had Marcus on before, and like we said before, if anybody wants to come on and they want to do some
we've had Jack on as well. She's just too
Where the hell has Mike gone?
He couldn't work his technology. That's the problem.
None of his kids in the house to show him how the computer works again.
Google Hangouts is stopping on August the 1st.
I saw something about this. So what? It's just turning into a different thing, is it? It's just not going to be Google.
No, I think it says
like YouTube thing instead, isn't it?
What?
It's just a YouTube thing.
I don't think so. I think it might be going.
Really?
It's kind of a different way of doing this, which I'm not sure there is one. When using a Mac.
Oh, really? What about Skype and all that?
Well, yeah, but it's getting Skype into a live stream. That's the issue, which is less easy than you think it's going to be.
Oh, really?
Does this work now? Can you hear me?
God alive, he's here. Yes.
My God. All right.
Yeah.
Did the kid
that was a nightmare.
Again? Yeah.
In what way was it a nightmare, Mike?
It was a nightmare in the fact that I couldn't figure out how to make it work.
It was a nightmare in the fact that he ended up looking like a fool.
Well, no, that's pretty much a daily occurrence. I don't mind that. I get frustrated when I can't figure out something simple. So, how are you gentlemen doing?
I'm all right. Speaking of nightmares, my daughter Cora. Look, stories. Oh man, this is the problem with doing this.
Yeah, you want to save this for the podcast?
The podcast. I'll tell you the first story about Cora.
All right.
She had because it's not particularly entertaining. She had a nightmare on Wednesday night, where she woke up in the house alone, and everyone in the world had disappeared. And it obviously was an incredibly vivid nightmare because she was in absolute tears and really, really stressed. And she ended up having to take the whole day off school because she was so.
Oh wow.
Well, I mean, I suppose we could have forced her to go, but I didn't see
the
benefit in it. She was apparently she was crying until about 11 a.m. about leave me, mummy, and stuff like that. I mean, I was at work, unfortunately, so I wasn't around to help. But yeah, those vivid nightmares like that are so scary.
Yeah, it's actually that is interesting because only because it relates to me in some way. Otherwise, it would be a worthless story. But my youngest, he for the first time had an episode of sleep paralysis. He didn't know that's what it was.
Wow.
But
how old are you youngest one?
He just turned 11.
Oh right, okay.
And so he came downstairs and I was already up and drinking my coffee, and he was clearly upset. I can tell that he was upset. And I said, "Well, what's wrong?" And he goes, "I was awake in bed and I couldn't move, and I was scared because I wanted to move and I was awake but I couldn't move." So I kind of explained to him what sleep paralysis was, and I actually even brought it up because nowadays instant access to information. I actually brought it up on Google and showed him, hey, look, this is a normal thing, especially for kids your age. It's actually pretty normal, and so it's nothing you need to be worried about, but that can be pretty terrifying.
Yeah. It happened to me once when I was a kid as well, and it was. No, it didn't actually. I woke up and my legs wouldn't work because I'd slept on them funny, and that was terrifying.
I've had the. This probably. Here we go.
Cyclops.
There he is.
Speaking of flatulence, I was
gonna say you're not stressful, are you? No stress, no worries. You're relaxed. You're calm. You're happy. Yeah, we're good.
That's right. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's had the experience where you wake up and you don't realize yet because you're still half asleep. You wake up and you have to go to the bathroom, so you swing yourself out of bed and you don't realize that both your legs are asleep and you fall flat on your face.
I've never done that.
Just me? Yeah, no, that literally I face planted. Now this was years ago, but
this is why you need a recording device.
Exactly what I was going to say. If you could please start recording your wake up times, it would make my day go a lot better.
Look, I mean, in the age that we live in now, if you don't think that everything we do is being recorded, then you're a fool. I'm sure it's somewhere.
How are you, Mark?
Yeah, good, thank you.
This is always a mistake we make when we do these things, because we're going to be talking to you. We'll have absolutely nothing to talk about.
That's right, yeah, because Mark's going to be coming on Sunday.
Yeah.
I can tell you a story about getting out of bed and going to the toilet.
Go through it.
I won't tell you on Sunday. So this is exclusive for Hobby Hangout. Maybe. It was a friend of mine's dad who had been out for a few drinks and then decided in the middle of the night he needed the loo. So he went and they had an ensuite, but he missed the ensuite, opened up the wardrobe and just peed all over it, like his priceless collection of records.
Oh,
my brother, his best friend Keith, apparently did the same thing. Got up to go for a pee, having been absolutely steaming drunk, and promptly peed on his father. Walked literally into his bedroom. He said his father just stood next to the bed, and like his dad woke up obviously as he was starting to be peed on, and he didn't really notice apparently what was happening until he sort of just looked up kind of in his daze and was like, Keith, you're right. And then it all sort of started to realize what was happening. That's certainly would stretch mine and my father's relationship.
Yeah.
So that like open mouth snoring or something.
You say that begs the question, depending on how the scenario played out, do you think that you would wake up if you were being urinated on?
I am a light sleeper, so I'm confident I would be. Yeah.
Most of the time when I'm being urinated on, I'm already awake.
The only time I ever wake up is when I'm doing it to myself.
Sure.
Jack's asking who Mark is. Mark is not only is he a Cyclops.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
I like the fact that you are Googleable, Mark.
Yeah,
That is a nice little feather in your cap, sir.
He's a Cyclops. He's also the promotional spokesman for the Stress Incontinence Society. He's the organizer of
Let this go over.
The thing that I really like about Mark, Stress Incontinence Cook, is that he has done nothing to deserve it whatsoever.
No, it's just a stupid throwaway statement that you made on me coming out the bag. If I hadn't mentioned Mark, I could have mentioned Matthew. I could have mentioned so many other people, but I just happened to say Mark, and he has been forever thrown under the bus of incontinence.
It had to be someone believable, though. You know, if you'd said Matthew, everyone would be like, "Nah, I can't see it." But it's Mark.
But you're also the CEO of Hush Hush Games, who publish Fog of Love and all the other great titles from that company.
Fog of Love and Fog of Love.
Yeah,
correct.
There's lots of versions of it and expansions. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
And alternate covers.
Alternate covers.
Oh, are they just alternate covers?
Yes.
I thought they were just slightly different versions.
No, there's
three expansions.
Is there more stuff coming, or is it just Fog of Love?
Yeah. No, there's more coming. So there's there's basically it's kind of the similar system with the cards and the scenes and the storytelling, but it's a 4-player game.
Interesting.
So it's like Fog of Love, but there's a bowl with car keys in it at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, kind of.
Is it called Swamp of Love? The sticky
no.
No, it's another one called Midlife Crisis. So
that's right. Yeah, Matt was talking about it on the last podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds exciting. Well, it's very exciting that you suddenly this big wigging board gaming.
Yeah.
It all happened very suddenly.
Yeah, because you were just. We can stop talking about this if you obviously you weren't coming on for an. In fact, we should probably talk to you about it on the podcast, shouldn't we? So we will stop talking.
Yeah.
Rehearsal.
Like we did say before, there's like 4 people that it's going to affect.
That's true. Yeah. Because I was going to ask him about
what's everybody been up to in general? Just whatever, you know. Has everybody played anything good lately?
You've been playing Jaws, Mike.
What's that?
Oh yeah, Mark. What's Jaws like?
Oh, you're asking. Jaws was interesting. It's much more fun than it has any business being. It's a game that plays in 2 distinct acts, and you can play either act as a standalone game, but there's no reason for it because they're both so short. Okay. But it's really it's much more clever than again, it really has any reason being as an IP game. The first and the way it works is neat in that the way the first act ends kind of determines what happens in the second act. So if the shark brings about act 2 by eating 9 swimmers, then it's going to start act 2 in a better position. If the crew ends act 1 by attaching 2 barrels to Jaws, then they're going to end up in a better position at the beginning of act 2. So it's cute. It's silly. It's light. And I don't know if you'd have if you had no interest at all in Jaws, you'd have to be interested in like just a light hidden movement game. But I think it really is mostly for people that really like Jaws.
Hidden movement and Jaws couldn't be 2 words. A set of words I'm more happy to hear together.
Well, then you need to get on it because it actually it's a game. I mean, it's a legitimate game. It's not just a cash grab.
Good.
So, and I normally don't like hidden movement. So, the fact that I did
short enough, I think hidden movement. I think if it goes on too long, I get a bit bored of it.
That's what's perfect. I mean, this is going to be over in both acts is over in easily less than an hour.
Yeah,
it's a short game.
Do you mean each act is less than an hour, or in total?
Altogether, you can probably get it in less than an hour. Yeah, it would not be the main event game of a game day or evening.
Right. Cool.
Yep, but the game I've been playing the most and I'm most excited about is Vinyl. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'll talk more about it on the podcast. But
go on, Matt. You say something.
I was just going to say it must be quite hard to do hidden movement for solo games.
You know, it's a joke, but have you heard of Black Sonata?
I haven't.
That's exactly what it is. It's a solo only deduction hidden movement game, and it's about the I guess it's a famous murder case of Black Sonata. I don't know. I don't know the history of it, but it's actually a really clever little game.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Matt, keep you clever.
That's right. How about that? Yeah, I don't think you can do like a solo auction game or.
No,
I mean, yeah, that would be tough.
Quite tricky, wouldn't it? Yeah.
A solo trader game. I don't think that would work very well.
Sort of could, but it'd be just random trade. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen my trees, Mike?
His broccoli.
I saw a picture.
Broccoli.
Right. So this is one of my apple trees.
Ooh.
Nice, eh?
Yeah, it looks like kale.
Yeah.
But it's just getting referred to as vegetables.
Bush.
Pardon me now?
Bush.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
You should be proud.
Yeah. Thank you. These.
Your bush is remarkably well maintained.
Thank you. I trimmed it. This is my club foliage.
Ah, nice.
And this is my seagrass. Oh. There we go. Bit of seagrass there. You see?
Seagrass.
See that? See that?
Yeah, I see it now. It was cutting over to
So
Luke's
there you go.
random painting for a while. Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a badger right there that you're painting? No, it's a fox. Yeah.
It looks nice. What color are you doing it, Luke? I don't even.
Yeah.
Orange.
My wife loves foxes. That's really nice.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this whole Reynard thing, weren't we?
Yeah, Reynard the fox. Yeah, that's we've gotten some really good, actually some pretty good information on that. I had heard nothing about it before. I think it's a European, primarily fable, epic.
Right. Yeah, it certainly seemed to sort of ring some bells with me, but I just wasn't too sure why or how, sort of thing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Too busy trying to. Don't know why I'm struggling painting. It's just splatting grey all over everything at the moment.
So, Mark, are you actively in development for Fog of War, where you role play as a dictator and a tyrant? And
yeah, that might be quite good.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking that actually could be pretty good. You can make it almost like a Twilight Struggle type of a thing, but more role play. I haven't actually played Fog of Love.
I have you.
I have not. No, but I've heard really good things.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely one of those games that it depends on the players and how much they engage with it. So, because there is some role-playing, storytelling element to it. So,
yeah,
if you're going to get into it and if you like that kind of thing, you'll probably have a good time with it. Like, there's some people that are mega fans of the game. Because I knew about the game, obviously. The thing I knew about more of it, though, was, this tutorial thing that it has.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I know most about it.
So before I started working there, but working at the booth at Games Expo, it was crazy. Like, some people came up that are like just super fans of the game, really, really into it. So it was interesting. But yeah, I think that kind of the war thing could be quite interesting. Like, if you did something like Downfall, the film Downfall, based on the interactions in the bunker or something like that. Like,
yeah. Or even like a standoff with the like you think of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
In the during the Cold War, where you're kind of having to role play and work out a negotiation where you're not losing too much, face, so to speak, or respect, but you're still able to come to an outcome that doesn't lead to war, but neither side feels like they've capitulated too much. See, that's almost like actually have you heard of the Dawn of Peacemakers game?
No,
I have. I saw a really bad review of it.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was. By bad you mean brilliant, though, correct?
No, by bad I mean the person liked it, but the execution was absolutely appalling.
Appalling, yes, yeah. So I know with Dan, it's either going to be marvelous or appalling, and I figured I knew which way I was going to fall on that. But Dawn of Peacemakers is definitely not a role-playing game, but it's got this really interesting idea where you've got two armies basically, and you're not controlling either of the armies. You're controlling a character that is kind of trying to manipulate both sides to kind of give up, to lose their will to keep fighting, so that no one side wins, but they don't completely. Neither side is completely having to retreat, but they're both like, you know what, we're done with this fighting. We're just gonna stop. So yeah,
it does sound good. Matteo Randy says, "No one's killed in the Black Sonata, you idiot." He says.
Oh, you're trying to deduce the Dark Lady from? Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Matteo.
Well, that's me never leaving
anything. Here's a fun fact. Matteo means Matthew in Italian. There you go. You're welcome.
No, it doesn't. This very cross indeed. This whole ridiculous charade of one name meaning another name in a different language. Because if Matteo came to the UK, suddenly start being called Matthew, would he? He'd still be called Matteo.
Well, it depends on Matteo.
Well, he can choose to change his name, but his name is Matteo, not Matthew. It cannot possibly be Matthew in a different language, you idiot.
Did you realise you were poking the bear at that point, Michael? Did that come out for you too?
To be fair, it doesn't take much to set Dan off, but no, I didn't see that as being the one that would do it.
That was a high horse I didn't expect him to strap on a saddle.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm right, though. You have to admit I'm right. It really bugs me, it's this person's naming. Oh.
Yeah, clearly
it is, though, Dan. But it is. I mean, there's etymologies. I mean, the name Matthew, yes, the name Matthew and Matteo have come from the same base. Just in different languages, they're expressed differently.
No. Matthew is a biblical name. It's a biblical name. Now, if in is it Matteo? Is that Italian? Did you say?
Yes, at least according to because I have an uncle whose name is Matteo.
Right. Okay. Right.
And he has people that call him Matthew as well.
Well, I see a trump card coming.
They call it two different names. Right. Matthew is a biblical name. If in the Italian version of the Bible, he's called Matteo instead of Matthew, I would perhaps grant it. Perhaps. Not necessarily.
But not.
But not. So your job before Sunday, the next podcast, to track down an Italian version of the Bible, and then if it says Matteo, then I will accept that in this.
So, sir, what does your name state on your birth certificate?
Mine?
Yes.
Daniel.
Oh, so we can't call you Dan then?
You're more than welcome to call me Dan, but it's not the same name. Dan isn't a different language for Daniel.
Okay, but how do you explain that in Hungarian, Dan is asshat? How?
They've obviously met me. But anyway, Matteo, you're wrong. Randy doesn't mean Jude in a different language, so you're wrong.
It is Matteo in the Italian Bible. So.
Oh, really? Dan. Or should I say Daniel? Daniel, you're incorrect.
Be careful. Get a stoop next to you when you get down off that horse. Come on.
The only thing that is hurting my heart here is that this is not being on the podcast right now, because
at least this is the only one he's going to make sure he doesn't.
Oh, sorry guys, if we lose. We're losing the signal, guys. Delete.
It's hard being right so often. It really is. It's a burden I carry.
It doesn't matter if it's often. It's just when you get it just right at the right time.
Well, we're only taking.
Oh, he's not down yet.
Word for this. He's obviously a plant. Right.
Well, we didn't know you were going to go batshit crazy on his name.
The only plant around here is your well-trimmed bush, Dan.
No, you obviously did, because you thought, what? Dan is a reasoned and rational human being.
Oh, if there's two words that scream to mind,
Yeah, after all that ranting.
It really bugs me that. Okay, right.
I feel
And
bad
now-
for one of the guys I work with. So his name is spelt as we would spell Jacob.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
with a C.
Like Jacob.
Okay,
he-
right.
So his name is Jacob.
Jacob.
But but everybody sees his name and calls him Jacob, basically.
Yeah. Especially in like the UK. But
Well, then there's the
I
whole.
take it, is he Eastern European or like Lithuania or something like that? Jacob?
Denmark.
Oh, sorry, yeah, of course, yeah.
Danish. Yeah.
So is that just a pronunciation? Because you also have
Yeah.
Jesus and Jesus,
Yeah.
right? Although generally speaking, I don't hear people called Jesus very much. Usually it's Jesus.
Well, I think it's generally because
I never,
only Latin countries would
Right.
name somebody somebody Jesus.
although interesting enough, that there's not that stigma around Mohammed, is there? I mean, Mohammed's one of the most popular names in the world.
It's the most popular name.
Depending on how you spell it as well.
Oh, yeah. I assume that's true. Yeah.
One of my friends called Mohammed is Mahed or whatever it is. M-A-H-M-A-E-D.
I just don't think I ever realized that was just Muhammad.
So MAHMUD is also Muhammad?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I always assumed it was a different name. That's interesting.
Well, he
I
calls himself
I
Mohammed.
love it when I find out I'm even more ignorant than I already thought I was.
It's funny how different spellings of the same name can be pronounced, like the same way.
Yeah.
It is. Mark, what are you holding? Is that a remote control?
Yeah, just remote control.
Oh, okay. For a second, it looked like something a little more sinister. Okay.
I have now searched the Italian Bible.
Here we go.
For...
Is that why you've been quiet?
What?
Is that why you've been quiet? You've actually done it.
Mm-hmm.
I've just found.
Mark's already done it and said you're wrong.
Yeah, Mark's already proven you wrong, Dan. I think it's time to give this up.
It was Matteo who did it. And we're not convinced he's telling the truth. We think he's a plant by Mike Delisio.
Oh, sorry, you were reading the chat, right? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Marco, Matteo, Luca, and Juan.
Yeah, how's that working for you, Dan? Daniel's a biblical name too, isn't it?
I never said it wasn't. I never said it wasn't.
No, I know you. Wow, a little defensive here. Yeah, no. I was just stating for the record. I believe that Daniel is, and as is Michael, as is Luke, as is Mark. Look at we are representing so many here, aren't we?
I am far from worthy of being.
Why did I not notice that before? Actually, I guess it's not something that comes to mind very often. But we all have very biblical names, don't we?
All of a generation. That's why.
Yeah, that's true.
True. I think
Well,
I
I
might
was
have told
really
you.
cool.
My name is supposed to be Adam, which is my middle name.
Ah,
How do you mean it's supposed to be? They fall over and sign the wrong name at the registry.
No, right. My aunt, who was very much like a grandmother to me, my name was supposed to be Adam Luke Pryor, but when Jean, my aunt, was informed of this at the time, obviously in the early 80s, she said, well, no, that's ridiculous. You can't do that because everybody will think he's named after that terrible Adamant. And
goody two shoes, man. He's not terrible. I like Adamant.
Yeah, I mean, my mum and dad, just to appease her, essentially stuck with it.
So that you're definitely younger than I am, because when I was born, Adamant would not have been performing yet.
1982 was when I was born.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're a bit younger than I am.
When were you born, Mike?
I was born in 1942.
I thought as much. I knew it.
I was born in 71.
71. So you're a bit older than me as well.
Yeah.
Only 5 years.
Yes, I was nearly called Dale.
Bale?
That's a cool name. You sound like a Lord of the Rings character.
Why?
B-A-L-E?
No, like Dale. D.
Oh, Dale. Okay.
D-A-L-E.
Oh, well, that's
I think Bale is better. I like
Yeah,
Bale
I
better.
thought you said Bale as well. Yeah.
Bale's like a demon's name, isn't it?
Yeah, I think actually it is. Yeah. Yeah, maybe not such a good name.
Maybe just a name.
Why weren't you called Dale?
I don't know. I think my mum just went off it at the last minute. So maybe, like the little wristband that you get.
That terrible Dale Winton was around at the time.
No, he wasn't quite around yet. So.
Really came on and it was like, well, we can't call him Dale now.
Well, my mom, being a nurse for many years, would always kind of tell us that, anybody who works in a medical profession in any sense, and Dan, even I'm sure you've got similar things where you hear these stories, and my mom would hear these stories every so often of women who hadn't chosen the name of their child yet, and in the hospital after the baby is born, they hear some medical term that they think is a beautiful name, and they end up naming their
video or something like that.
No, placentia was one. Placenta, I should say, not even placentia. Placenta was the name of a child, that a poor, unfortunate child.
Placentia.
Yes, that's the Italian spelling, and in Hungarian, it's asshat. I don't understand why. It's an odd.
Daniel.
An odd
It is strange how that works.
Hang on.
You've got a new person posting here. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Danae or Dean?
Oh yeah, I would say Danae. Yeah,
Danae
Glavas.
Danae Glavas. In Aussie. Hello then.
It could be G'day. G'day.
It could be G'day.
That's
not a knife.
That's a
knife.
These two.
What time is it in Australia then? Depending on obviously where you are in Australia.
Yeah. He was asking what's being painted or she. Is it a he or a she, Danae? Are you a he or she? Or do you not wish to be identified as either? Painting. I'm painting Batman Riddler's gangs. Probably not doing a very good job of showing people what I'm doing, but I'm just very rough. Look at that precise painting I'm doing there. Look at it; it's amazing.
Are you using the contrast paints, Dan?
No, they cost money.
It's cheap.
I should probably be using the contrast paints because these
for that type of work, I would think so, right? Because
that'd be the one. I'm not impressed by what I've seen of them.
Oh, is that right?
Okay.
I think some of them are okay, but a lot of them just come up as blotchy messes. In my opinion, you've got them, haven't you, Luke?
Yeah, I haven't had a go with them yet, though.
Right.
I was tempted to have a try with Foxfare for one of them.
Yeah,
but, decided I'd
that looks really good, man. I mean, that's
it's pronounced Dean.
It is pronounced Dean, apparently.
Dean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with Danae. More exotic.
Well, you
I am Boroughs and Badgers
names the other day.
You what? Sorry.
That's all right. I'm just talking. Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, I'm painting a Boroughs and Badgers Fox Rogue, who I'm quite pleased with, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's cool.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And Dean, it's a shame. I'm assuming you just probably missed hearing Dan be wrong about names.
No, I can't remember that happening at all.
We'll try to recount that on the next.
If
podcast.
only he was in mid-flow of High Horse, he could have come up with some real nonsense for your name as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
God knows what he'd have come up with for you. 7:30 in Sydney.
I still maintain I'm right. If someone's called something, they called it. You can't translate it into a different language. That is their name. Those set of letters is their name.
Wow.
You can't translate it into a different language. Jon is not John. It's Jon. God damn
it. You can tell he's had a rough week, can't you?
Yeah.
I've had an incredibly rough week.
And instead of being kind and supportive, I'm just poking and poking and poking.
Poke me till I start crying. That's the.
No, I don't want to do that.
Apparently, it's 7:30 in the morning in Sydney Mail. The direct Sydney was in New South Wales. But...
Yeah,
I was saying I've never heard of Mail Australia. Other than a dance show I went to once.
Manly near Sydney.
That's what people used to do on internet chat, isn't it?
What's that?
Time, location.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
ASL. All that. Yeah.
I once got into a friendship with a woman in America on internet chat. Back in the day of Telnet. Remember Telnet, guys?
Oh,
yeah.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend threatened to beat me up, which was going to be quite difficult considering I was in England and he was in America. Fair enough. You can do if you want.
Yeah. That gives you a nice sense of bravado there, doesn't it? Knowing that you've got a lot of water between you and him.
I wasn't even being inappropriate. I was just being friendly.
Right.
But what can you do?
Well, to be fair, I mean, you were being friendly while nude, so I can understand why he would be.
Hey, there was none of that business going on. You couldn't.
You couldn't see anyway. Yeah.
See anyway. It was all text. And
yeah. Well, I still stand by my statement, but still, right? She couldn't see.
Yeah,
it was the pictures you'd airmailed the week before.
It would have to be airmail, wouldn't it? Because
the graphic descriptions that you were typing.
Yeah, I was doing none of that. None of that.
No,
You still think
no, I know.
Is it who's been to Australia out of us?
Me.
I have not. I'd love to.
He's a national.
I would also love to. I really want to go to Australia. Really, I mean, I lived there for 6 months, but I was 5 at the time.
Right.
So, and
you haven't been as an adult. You didn't.
No, I found out later on that the reason I lived there for 5 months was because my mother was considering divorcing my dad. So things could have been very different if she hadn't gone back. I do remember getting letters from my dad, and he'd made my dad was a very crafty person. He used to be a CDT woodwork teacher, and he also was a blacksmith for a while and all sorts of stuff like that. So he'd made loads of wooden toys for me, and I was really excited to get back for these toys because he kept sending me pictures. And now, as a father, you can look back on it and just understand how much he must have been desperately missing me and my sister, and desperately hoping that we would come back. And it must have been horrendous for him, really. And he said later on, although not about this divorce, that there was a time of incredible depression for him. But can you imagine having your kids just whipped off to a different, completely other side of the world? Really,
I literally could not imagine it.
Yeah,
that would be pretty miserable.
I mean, my dad had his faults. It wasn't the easiest of relationships, but you know when you get to your adulthood and you realize what your parents were doing, things that kind of passed you by when you're that old.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I lived in Australia. Sorry, I've been to Australia. That was the answer to that question.
Yeah, I was thinking, wow, that went different turn, but
I wish I still got some of the pictures because he made this hobby horse, and I remember it really distinctly. And I really wish that would be a nice thing to have framed in the house, wouldn't it? The picture of this toy my dad made for me when he was desperately missing me.
He sounds like quite a fascinating guy, your dad.
My dad, he was a fascinating guy. Yeah.
The things you said about the fact that he was a teacher and and then the blacksmith thing and all sorts. It just sounds like he was real.
Well, he was desperate to get out of teaching, which is why he was a blacksmith. But he was a blacksmith because basically, well, he was a bit like me in some respects, although a bit more accomplished than me, in that he just fancied to go at things and then did it. So he noticed that there was a kind of article in the local paper about the village. Sounds incredibly quaint, doesn't it? The village blacksmith, but it was the blacksmith in the village we lived in had died, and so he just kind of phoned the widow and said, I know this probably isn't the right time to ask, but I'll buy the smithy if you want. And he got it for quite cheap, and it came with all the equipment, the forge, all the things. He'd never done it before, and he basically taught himself how to be a blacksmith. And did it on the weekends. So he taught during the weekdays and then was a blacksmith on the weekend. He never did like horseshoes. Well, he made horseshoes, but he never shod a horse or anything. He mainly made railings and gates. So there's a bunch of railings and gates in the village I grew up in Hongfirth, which my dad made, which is quite nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. He made a wrestling ring once for the local scrap merchant who was really into wrestling, so he wanted his own wrestling ring, so he made a wrestling ring.
Most of them are made out of canvas, but you're made of harder stuff in Huddersfield.
Well, yeah. Well, I think you need a frame as well.
Flat bed of cast iron.
He used to make window frames for old stately homes as well, because they had to be made in a certain type of iron, which most places don't do. So he teamed up with a window company and made a lot of window frames for like stately homes. And there you go. So they're not very. Sorry, I apologise for.
Mark, have you ever been to Australia?
Yeah, I went. Yeah.
Was it good? Was it hot?
Very hot. Yeah, it was.
Where did you go?
It is now in France. When I was there.
Was it?
Yeah.
You might have been to some of the bits I've been to then, because Have you been to Middle Australia, as it were? Like
No, I've been on the East Coast, so from
really?
Brisbane down to Sydney.
Okay.
I've got a friend in Brisbane.
Was that like a backpacking thing or a holiday thing?
Yeah, as a gap year.
The gap, yeah.
Oh.
I went when I went traveling. We didn't because you went to certainly like the whole Brisbane Surfers Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
The places most people go because it's the nicest bits of Australia for the most part. We did. We landed in Melbourne and we bought a car in Melbourne, drove to Adelaide, and then Adelaide to Darwin. Which was awesome because we wanted to see the outback, and we essentially wanted to meet people like they were on Neighbours and Home and Away.
Is Lee from Brisbane?
Yeah, Lee's from Brisbane. Yeah.
I'd like to have gone to Brisbane because it looks like a really nice place.
It's very humid. I don't want to go anywhere that's too humid. I want to go to.
You don't want to go anywhere, Dan.
I do. I want to, if I lived in Australia, the two places I was looking at moving to Australia, because we're still vaguely thinking about moving to Australia, depending on how this Brexit thing goes, is Melbourne or Tasmania.
I love Melbourne. I think
Melbourne is consistently voted the best place to live in the world quite frequently.
Really?
Yeah, it's meant to be really good living in Melbourne.
It's just a really nice city. Really, really nice.
Really? Is there a high cost of living there?
No, I don't think so. Well, I think
it's probably. I would imagine it's probably
city.
Second highest cost. I would imagine the cost of living city-wise in Australia goes Sydney obviously top, and then probably Brisbane and Melbourne's pretty joint. I would have thought, but
and they don't have a huge drop bear problem there in Brisbane or in Melbourne.
It's huge. It's a massive problem, but they just try not to talk about it.
Okay, I'm sorry I brought it up. I know it's a sensitive topic.
Did you know? And this may not be up to date information, but I'm going to claim it is. But at one point, it certainly was true that Adelaide in Australia is the world's serial killer capital.
I believe it.
Well, that's odd because I've often described Adelaide, and I don't mean to insult anybody from Adelaide, obviously, as the ready salted city of the world. There's just nothing. There was just nothing that interesting about it. It's not a bad city or anything like that.
It's quiet and unassuming.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you'd probably love it, Dan.
So have we gotten off the topic of Marcus and how horrible he is and how much you hate Sweden now, or were we able to move on to? Are we finally on to something else?
I've had enough of talking about Marcus. I don't want to talk about him anymore. I've said my bit.
I mean, that was really shocking, to tell you the truth. I was a little surprised. I'm hoping YouTube doesn't shut you down.
We were talking about Marcus earlier because we wanted to know how hot it is in Sweden. How hot's it in Sweden, Marcus?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good How hot is it in Sweden, Marcus? You don't need to go to bed.
You don't need to go to bed, Marcus. Yeah,
because it's very hot in a lot of Europe. It's not. I
was going to ask all of you: is it very hot where you're at?
It's warm now. It's going to be hot tomorrow. It's going to be 30 tomorrow, isn't it?
So 30 in regular standard
in Fahrenheit,
temperature.
220 in Fahrenheit.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's about 90 here, so it's hot here too in Fahrenheit.
I think it's probably about 90.
Okay, so we're probably living in similar climates right now.
Okay. What is it? 80?
86.
86. Yeah.
Okay, so it's even a little warmer than that here, but we're used to it. I mean, I get the impression that Europe is not.
Oh no, we don't. I mean, parts of France. I know France is going through absolute nonsense at the minute, heat-wise, but parts of France get really blooming hot, but
not as hot as this.
Certainly not consistently like it has been.
And the other issue, like Dan was saying, is that
never get
air conditioning is not standard out there, right? I mean, because air conditioning is pretty standard here.
There are plenty of places that right now it's very hot in France, but they're not that bothered. It's not that bad, kind of thing. But parts up like Brittany and Normandy, which is like North France, French coast, they are remotely no way prepared for these kinds of temperatures. Not close to it. They're British temperatures, very British climate as well.
Right. So what is 16 degrees centigrade? What does that translate to for?
Just over half. Just over half 30. That is.
29.
Oh, so it's cold. It's cold.
No, no, not 30 Fahrenheit.
Marcus, what
60
63 is obviously a nice summer for us. That's pretty good. A nice good spring day for us. Where's that? Like we were wondering earlier, where does Sweden kind of get to? What's like the height of summer for Sweden?
Yep.
I wondered if it got to like 19, maybe 20 at the peak. I couldn't imagine it got much.
No,
higher.
because I don't know.
So it was 27 in Denmark the other day. Yesterday.
Really?
It's nearly midnight, he's saying. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. It's 16 degrees and it's midnight. Oh, wow. Okay.
That's quite hot then, really.
Yeah, that's pretty blooming hot.
And I do like. I think it's quaint how Jack put the temperature in Los Angeles of 84, because growing up in LA, the people that I think had the most boring job in the world are Southern California or maybe even Hawaiian meteorologists, because it's pretty much always within 20 degrees. Now it gets hot. I mean, because Los Angeles is a desert.
Yeah.
The only reason people are able to live there is because water gets pumped there from places where people actually should be living. But it's generally pretty temperate there. Although it does get quite hot.
I saw an interesting documentary, YouTube video on the balls they put in the Los Angeles reservoirs. Have you seen that, Mike?
The balls they put in there?
They're like ball pit balls. But
yeah. I've seen that. To stop it evaporating, isn't it?
no,
Yes.
it's not to stop it evaporating.
Oh, I thought it was.
That's a myth. Although it does stop it evaporating a little bit, but it's actually to stop something reacting within the water to make dangerous levels of this carcinogenic chemical.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So there's something that's put in the water, or that comes in the water, that if exposed to sunlight makes this carcinogenic level thing. And so they discovered that the original water source, they treated the water, it was all fine, it was clean. Then they put it in a reservoir, which I don't know why they put it in a reservoir after treating it. That doesn't seem very logical,
right?
Because birds are going to shit in it. But anyway, so they put it in this reservoir, and then they were wondering why it was coming out the other end, and it was actually carcinogenic, the water in LA, and it's because the sunlight allowed it to do this weird shit, this chemical reaction. So they've got the entire of the reservoir is just covered in floating black balls. It's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, that is interesting. I growing up spent more time than I would like to admit in and around the LA River, as it's called, which was not necessarily where I should have been, probably. I mean, because I think there was a lot of stuff going down there, and nuclear fallout is the least of my worries, I think, at that point. But it wasn't pretty.
No.
But we would take a, I don't know if this is an American term. Do you have boogie boards out there?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we used to take boogie boards down to the LA River, and we would, hop on those things and kind of ride those down, and definitely nothing dangerous about that.
Jack's asking where you lived in LA. He lived in Hollywood.
Oh, I was born in Hollywood, but I lived in San Fernando Valley most of my life. I lived in North Hollywood, where I went to high school. So I spent a lot of time in North Hollywood. I lived in Van Nuys. I lived in Glendale. I lived in Sherman Oaks. So the Valley. I'm a Valley kid, or was back 50,000 years ago.
Back at the end of Second World War.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I remember when they were digging out the LA River. So it was a good time for us.
I don't even know what the LA River is. It's like
it's what you were talking about, where they've got all the black balls. It's like a concrete, a series of concrete.
Yeah. Every car chase in LA.
Right, exactly. Exactly right.
Well, why is it always empty?
Because it's
8,000 degrees.
Yeah.
Right. So why did they bother digging it then if it's going to be empty?
Because
I don't know.
Because when you do have rain in a place like that, you have to have somewhere for it
That's
to run.
what
off.
it is.
Massively dangerous.
I could tell you, growing up, I remember that whenever it rained in Los Angeles, first of all, it was headline news. I don't care what else was happening in the world. They led with rain, and people in cars everywhere acted like there were locusts and frogs falling from the sky. They had never seen this precipitation that was falling onto their cars, and they drove like maniacs and idiots because they didn't know how to drive in it. They didn't know how to deal with it. And I guess Jack is saying still is. Place where, homeless people hang out. Yeah, that's also true. That was very much where you'd see in the LA River. Also freeway underpasses.
I'm going to make a move.
All right. Cheers, mate. Sorry,
we'll see you soon.
To be dull.
I'm not sorry. It's just who I am.
Sorry, he's dull. I meant sorry, he's dull, actually. Haha, he didn't know.
I'm going to go get water. I'll be right back.
I was going to ask an incredibly interesting question.
Say your horrible things now.
Okay.
I'd write the same to your face.
It sounds very much like when it snows in London. It makes no difference if it snows anywhere else in the country, does it? But if
exactly. A white Christmas is based on a small patch of concrete, isn't it, on the top of the
that's
the meteorological something building or whatever.
TV centre. Although that's
I was going to say
that's in Manchester these days.
Yeah. I wonder if it's still that building that classes a white Christmas.
Oh, is that for betting purposes?
Yeah, that's what it used to be. Yes, yeah. That somebody literally would be there watching that patch of concrete, it's a big concrete slab.
Yeah,
and the snowflake had to fall on it essentially, and then be witnessed.
It's exciting Christmas for somebody.
Yeah,
Ooh, 11 people watching now. Is that a record? Jack wants to know if we're at a record.
No,
we're at 11 now.
We've been up there before.
It's never been about the numbers, which is probably just as well. It's about
not for you, maybe. I'm in this for fame and fortune.
Yeah, well, you're going to be lucky. You've already got fame. You're just a groupie.
Shut up,
Jack. Are you going to Dice Tower Con?
She's not. No, she said she wishes she was.
Oh, that's
you, Mike. Are you going?
Yeah. We're leaving very early Tuesday.
Cool. I'm very jealous of you. I'd really like to go to Dice Tower Con.
It was, I love it. It's it's the best convention experience I've had, and now that Dan's not going, I think it's going to even be better.
Just stepped up. Yeah.
No, I'm actually quite disappointed that Dan's not going.
Maybe next year. Although
Jack was at Origins, I didn't get a chance. I was only there for one day. I didn't get a chance to say hello.
I
don't know. I don't think we've met, have we, Jack? I'm sorry. I'm having a one-on-one conversation. I don't think we've met before.
She likes 18xx games.
Oh, yeah. Well, we wouldn't have met playing one of those because they scare me. Yeah, we have not met. Okay.
I sort of want to play one, but I also don't want to. It needs to be like when I'm snowed in somewhere or haven't got anything else to do.
I kind of always assumed you would have played one.
Dave, I don't enjoy it. What?
I kind of always assumed you would have played one at some point.
No.
I know that Ambi always runs them at Dice Tower Con, and so I mean, there's going to be tons of 18xx. Well, I don't know about tons, but there are going to be regular 18xx games going on over there. It's not my. I mean, I cannot say it's not my cup of tea because
it's just a big investment, isn't it? In case
I've played the closest I've probably come to an 18xx game would be I've played a Winsome Train game, which I think is less complex than an 18xx game because it was done in a couple of hours. And from what I understand, most of the 18xx games are significantly longer. So
not the way I'd play them. I'd be just screaming at people.
Well, sure. But to be fair, that's how you play Wingspan too.
I was going to say that's exactly how you play every game. You'd even play Takedo that way.
Go to the spa, damn you!
I played that game actually.
Good, because you'd ruin it.
Takedo is lovely if you're in the right frame of mind to play it and you're not, and you don't care who wins. You just want to have a lovely experience.
Nice game, but it's pretty dull, to be fair.
There's not much to it, but if you add all the other stuff in there, it's a little bit of stuff going on, but it's still pretty light.
Well, I really want Raccoon Tycoon after playing it the other day.
I hear lots of good things.
Very good. It's a bit like modern art. It's not like modern art at all, but it simplifies a mechanism, that kind of stock manipulation mechanism, down to its very essence. I'd say not much other than that going on, but it's enough, and it's fun. And
Yeah, I've heard really good things.
I'm so glad I brought it with me as well because I'm a big fan. I knew Sean was a big fan of it, and I think I watched. Did
reviews, but yeah,
reviewed it, didn't he? And he liked it, so I was like,
oh yeah.
And I sort of had my hopes that you would like it, Dan. But
Pipeline, yeah.
I would say Jack was just mentioned that, and my local one of my local friends, Andrew Smith, he has been extolling the virtues of Pipeline, and has been asking if we can lay pipe soon, and I hope it means what I think it means.
One of my really good friends, Ian O'Toole, he illustrates.
Your close personal friend O'Toole, yeah.
O'Toole.
O'Toole did an amazing job with that too. It looks gorgeous.
He's absolutely stunning.
It is.
I mean, I said that I tweeted that to him because I know his tweet handle. We're that close. You know what I'm saying? He said thank you, Dan. I went, yes. I told you I'm friends with the stars. But yeah, no, it's amazing. It's an amazing cover. I would argue that's probably his best piece of work I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know. On Mars is pretty spectacular too.
I like it.
Yeah. No, I like it. No, Pipeline's amazing, but On Mars is going to be a pretty close contender there.
Ryan Courtney is the designer to watch.
Yeah, I guess this was I'm guessing his first published design.
Oh, but sounds like Jack's played his second design.
Now, here's the thing. I wonder, is he going to be one of those Wolfgang Warsch situations? Because you remember, you had not heard anything about him maybe a little more than a year ago, right?
He is now. Who is he?
But you know his games because he's Gone Sean Clever.
Oh, yeah.
He's the other one. He's done here. I'm going to go on Board Game Geek right now and listen to these games that he's done just within the last year. Give me a second.
As long as you find a good one.
Well, I mean, yes, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's
just not my sort of thing.
He did Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yeah,
clearly
So all of these games, he's done Quacks of Quedlinburg. He's done Illusion. He's done the Bricks, which is a Tetris game. That's a good game. That T. Vernon and Tiefin Hall, which is really popular right now. He's done Fuji. He's done The Mind. All of these within the last year.
Really done some smash hits then.
Yeah, he got nominated twice for Field of Jaris in the same year, didn't he?
Right. I mean, and this is someone no one had heard of a little more than a year ago. So I wonder if the same thing might happen.
He's like Mozart or something. He's actually 12 and he's just suddenly discovered.
It could be.
Well, he put a lot of designs up his sleeve, and then once he got one published, it's easier to get people. I'm guessing.
Yeah, right. Because Dan, once you get your Luddite game published, think about all of the floodgates that are going to open there. I mean,
yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Mike the Pillock Pool is still kind of semi researching the Luddite thing. I don't know if he'll actually do it, but he was definitely running with the idea. But I've got no interest in designing a game. Have you got any interest in designing a game, Luke?
Absolutely, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
What kind of game would you design?
Maybe you'll see one day.
I doubt it.
Thanks for the confidence.
Yeah. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I would like to. I've toyed around and I've gotten to various stages, but nothing I've done has been terribly complicated. The only thing I've really taken to even prototype stage would be a little dice game where the idea of it is you've got this little sugar bowl in the center of the table, and you've got these white cubes that represent sugar, and everyone's got their own cup in front of them, and it could either be tea or coffee or whatever. And you're basically trying to roll dice to manipulate which cup these cubes of sugar go into. And at the beginning of the round, you basically vote for how many cubes of sugar are going to be in your cup at the end of the round. And so you're trying to work it, and it's all secret. No one knows what's in everyone else's, what everyone else's goal is, basically. And you're trying to make it so at the end of the round, when you flip your card over, you've got exactly as many cubes in your cup as you guessed you would. And if you don't, you get a diminishing number of points depending on how close you came. So if you said, I'm going to have 3 cubes of sugar in the end of my in my cup at the end of the round, and you have that, you'll get, you know, the maximum amount of points if you have 2 or 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very, very simple, but it's called Sweetened to Taste.
I did design a game, didn't I, Mike? I forgot I sent you the design for a game.
You did, and it's actually a legitimate game. It's a dexterity game. I think we can actually make that happen.
Yeah.
Do we talk about it, or do we wait?
I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to make it, are we?
I kind of want to, though. It was all based on a discussion we had at the on the podcast.
Yeah.
About the bears at the wedding analogy.
Yeah.
And
I just did a game.
He did. He came up with a game, and we workshopped it over Facebook Messenger.
Well, I was meant to be in a team meeting.
Yeah. And I don't know if I was at work or not either, but it sounds really, actually, it sounds quite fun.
But yeah, we'll keep that to ourselves in case.
Yeah, because someone could be listening. Yeah. One of these 11 people might take it. 10 now.
They're all jealous.
Yeah, they've just run off to copyright.
Age of Steam. I've not played Age of Steam, but one of my favorite games is Railways of the World, which is like a pared down. But I've never really felt the need to graduate to Age of Steam. I think they've got more stocks and things like that, I think, in Age of Steam, haven't they? Have you ever played Railways of the World, Luke?
No, I really want to. I was going to ask you to bring it on Monday. But,
no, too big.
Yeah, that's what I want to play a Gearstones then, if we can.
Yeah. Well, I always bring it to any kind of day I play. So, we'll play it at Gearstones because it's ace, in my opinion. Did you enjoy it, Mike?
I did. Yeah, it was good. And it's not one I would have sought out or played on my own. So I'm glad you.
I don't
screamed at me until I played.
I don't know why I like it so much. I
just screaming a bit about names of like Matteo. For
don't mention he's dead to me. He's Matteo.
No, I did enjoy it, and it was a fun group. It was you and me and Nick Murphy and Matthew, and who else played? Did Mike also play? Was it both Murphs?
I think it was both Murphs. Matthew. It was a good group anyway.
It was, yeah. It was a good group.
You can take loans. I like the fact you can take loans anytime because it's still your undoing. It's your undoing. That's what I like.
Yep.
No, don't like the sound of having to plan ahead. No, you're not convincing me. I'm talking to Jack now. Sorry. What map would you make for Age of Steam anyway? Would it be a Huddersfield map?
I'm sure that's
4th. Hey, has anyone listened to the Board Game Insider podcast recently?
I've never listened to it.
Oh.
I have not either, actually, but I know what's coming.
Well, Stephen Bunacore calls me a crazy Brit and a very good friend of his.
Well, at least you got half of it right.
Yeah.
No, you are.
He called you a creative Brit. Are you sure it wasn't a massive twit?
He said crazy.
I was go
crazy. Okay.
Yeah. But he was very nice about me. Although he said I was doing things wrong. I asked
why was he referring to you?
Because I asked him a question about reviewing board games because I said that I review board games, but not the kind that him and Ignacy put out. I only review board games for children or ones that are set in Huddersfield. But I often take about 6 months to get round to actually reviewing them once it's been sent to me. Is this damaging to the publisher? Would they rather me get straight away, or is there still value in that kind of turnaround? Because I thought that's a genuine question I wanted to know.
Very fair question.
And Ignacy said that he sends his games out in 2 waves. He sends them out to kind of he tries to send them out to the big reviewers before they've even been released. Then he sends out copies to lesser, I don't know if you call them less well-known reviewers as it's released, and then they'll have a 3rd wave rather where he sends out old games just to kind of keep the buzz going a little bit. Whereas Stephen says if he's sending out a game to people, he wants it reviewed in the first month of getting it. He said you need to do better, Dan. And I said to the podcast, "I'll screw you, Stephen, because I don't even review anything anymore." Aha! I've been loser. He was very nice about me on the podcast. He was talking about the video we collaborated on.
The letters to Huddersfield one.
Yeah. I mean, he was very, very kind to me. I mean, not only did he do that, but he watched the one I did on Richard Garfield,
mm-hmm.
and then sent it to Richard Garfield, and relayed back to me his reply and stuff like that, which I thought was very kind of him, really.
Yeah, that is because if you listen to Ben Maddox, his interview with Richard Garfield, a very recent 5 Games for Doomsday.
Oh yeah,
it was really good. You get the sense that Richard Garfield is not big on social media, or he's pretty old school, and so it doesn't surprise me that he kind of was going through intermediaries to get him that information.
Yeah, well, I mean, Richard Garfield responded, and then even copied me in on the response, but it gave me Richard Garfield's email number, email address, and it's a Hotmail address. So he's with me in the old. But yeah, it amused me that his professional address is a.
And so now everybody knows that it's roborally@hotmail.com.
Yeah, well, couldn't it?
No, ironically, it's .co.uk. Nobody knows how he got that.
Oh dear.
I have never played Robo Rally, and honestly, I don't have any interest in it.
I used to own it. I owned it when it first came out. For some reason, it really attracted me, so I bought it. I never played it. It sat on my. It wasn't it was the Avalon Hill version, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It sat on my shelf for a long, long time. It was the only board game I owned.
Yeah,
but I never actually played it.
It's not that big on programming games.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to like programming. It's certainly a product of its time. It's old.
Mm-hmm.
It takes too long. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Don't play any of the maps or races as they are supposed to be. Play one board, put a couple of gates down to get through, and that's it. That's fine.
And I think people probably fall in the trap of thinking the more complicated it is, the more fun it will be.
And it's absolutely not the case. Yeah.
Poor Marcus. Did you see this little thing talking about Buonacore here? He goes, "Me and Steven have a little dance we do each year before Essen where I write to him saying, I know you won't give me any games, but I have to ask. And he replies very friendly that I'm correct, but nice to hear from." That's good stuff. Uh-oh. Yeah. Looks like Jack's either getting ready to go or, yep, she's out of here.
Go for it. All right. I'll message you at some point, Jack, because I would like to talk to you on the podcast about 18xx games and stuff like that. But we'll see you again.
What do you think, Dan?
I like it.
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah.
It looked like he was sort of stalking through the long grass, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's good. I haven't.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
I haven't looked at. Go on, speak, Luke.
Sorry. I'm just trying to get a bit more light on
it. How did you make the grass?
So what I did, I have some of the. I think it's Woodland Scenics, which is basically just loads of this, and then basically put it between 2 lolly sticks. Kind of clamped it and then ran a bead of glue along it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I could break a bit off. And then I just kind of, if you look, you can see I kind of twisted it.
Mm-hmm.
And then just glued it down into place, put a little bit of flock around it so it just sets nice and sort of firm in there.
I'm a little bit annoyed about how good that looks because I'm going to...
Well, now it's one of my favourites.
Yeah. It's really nice. I mean, you've done an amazing job on all those guys. You really have. Much better than I will do, which is annoying. I don't like it.
It's a given. It's fine.
Yeah, those are very nice.
Your ambitions to make some videos.
Sorry?
Have you done anything about your ambition to make some videos?
No, because I've got to work on something else at the minute, but yeah.
What are you doing? What?
I've got some other things that I've got to get sort of done at the minute. But yes, I am working towards it. Yes.
You're wanting to get in the video game, huh, Luke?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I need to stop going on about it and just bloody do it. basically.
Exactly.
What is it you want to do?
I'm going to do some painting and terrain stuff.
For board game specific stuff.
Right.
Yeah, to a point. To a point.
Well, you can act as a gateway drug between the two.
Thank you, Marcus. I'm glad you like it.
It is good. It is good. Are you around, Marcus, or are you in your pajamas?
Oh, if you're in your pajamas, you've definitely got to come on.
Well, I know that earlier today, not long ago, Marcus was playing Architects of the West Kingdom and eating Swedish fish.
Nice.
He sent me a photo.
I'm just called fish over there.
Well, and I was actually very, very embarrassed because I didn't notice. I just saw the game and didn't notice the fish, and then Marcus pointed him out to me, and I was chastened to not notice the Swedish fish in the picture at first.
I've heard them. Thank you, Marcus. I've heard them referred to Swedish fish. I get they're a little red fish-shaped candy, right?
Yes. Yep. They're gummy. They're like gummies.
They're just like or whatever. What do they taste of though?
Cherry. I think that they taste cherry. Yeah.
A little red shaped. Why are they called Swedish fish?
Marcus would have to tell. I'm assuming that they actually were, a Swedish candy. That would be my guess because I've always heard them called that, and I know that they sell them at IKEA, and I mean you can get them anywhere too. But I do get the impression that they are legitimately Swedish. But I'm sure Marcus will tell us.
Come on, have you sent him a link, Dan?
I have, yeah. I'm good like that.
He is clothed.
Damn it!
They only have them in the U.S. Oh, okay. So apparently Swedish fish are an elaborate fraud.
Oh,
that doesn't really surprise me, to be fair.
God damn it.
Don't type it on the chat, Marcus, and press the link of the Google Hangout.
Yeah, don't make the mistake that I did.
And mute YouTube.
The mistake that I made twice now. So
I'm sweating like a pig now. Oh, it's because I shut the window, that's why.
Their Swedish fish are different, apparently.
So you're going to work on the hotness table, Mike?
Yeah, I've signed up for, I want to say 3 sessions at the Hot Games table. My hope is if I have my druthers, I'll be teaching Smartphone Inc. I'd love to turn more people onto that game. There's another maybe 4 or 5 games that I feel like I could probably teach that are in that group.
I think the Kickstarter goes live this week or something like that.
Is it that soon? Oh, yeah, I guess it's in July, right?
Oh, is it in July? Is it? I just know he said on whatever they were doing today, Back Talk or whatever it was.
Oh, maybe it's sooner. I didn't get a chance to watch all of that.
Luke obsessed. That's all he does. He watches Dice Tower videos.
Actually, I was watching it while I was waiting for you.
Yeah, I was sitting in my new car. I've got a new car, Luke, Mike.
It's Marcus.
Yes.
Hello.
What were you saying, Dan? I'm sorry. Oh, hello. I didn't hear what you said, Dan.
I've got a new car.
Oh, that's right. How is it?
It's all right. It's bigger inside than I was worried it was going to be, so that's good.
It was bigger on the inside than the outside.
But it does look a bit. It's a tiny, tiny, weeny car because my big car.
Well, that's fitting.
Broke down. How dare you? How dare you?
You said it's called what, a Skova or a Skora or
Skoda.
Skoda.
Oh, it was a
Okay.
Skoda.
Yeah, you'll have Skodas in Sweden, won't you, Mark?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds Swedish almost.
It's Czechoslovakian, I think.
Yeah.
And so your Swedish fish are different, is what you're saying, Mark?
Yeah, ours come in. I mean, the ones you eat, they're like this size or something, and they're all red.
They're bigger than that. They're about the size of your pinky.
Okay,
They're
that's the same size, but you only have red ones, right?
Well, yes, but now they've released multiple colored ones, but the classic Swedish fish that I grew up with were all red. But now you can get them with different colors.
Yeah, okay, because ours are always different colors. It's red, yellow, green, and orange, I think.
Okay, yeah, you can get those now, but for some reason they were always only red, but now you can get the. This is fascinating stuff, isn't it?
I think it is.
I think one of the things I like about doing this.
I do too, actually.
Is the different culture. I mean, we don't get hugely different cultures. We haven't got anyone.
I like it too. The even the small stuff is fun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, and Sweden is another place I would love to visit one day. I've got, I've mentioned it before. I've got a little bit of family heritage in that region anyway, and
Do you know about where in Sweden?
It's not Sweden, actually. It's Norway. So, Northern Europe.
Place though, Mike. It's all the same.
Pardon? It's all the same, right? Yeah, it's Finland, Sweden, Norway, Estonia, Morocco. They're all the same, right?
Yeah. Well, you're welcome here anytime.
Well, thank you.
That goes for all three of you, actually.
Well, give me 2 days and I'll be on your doorstep.
Yeah, you won't be saying that when in 3 days' time we're all stood on your door with our hands out waiting for our dinner.
Asking where some of my Viking friends will sort that out.
So is the kind of Viking heritage played up a lot then? Do you know what I mean?
No, not, I think it's mostly played up for tourists.
Right. Yeah. So it's not something he's proud of or anything like that.
But some people are, but unfortunately, the ones that are most, maybe it's not that anymore. But the ones who used to be most proud of it were the neo-Nazis and white supremacists and stuff like that. But that's not that much anymore. Because now they're in actually in politics and in the parliament here in Sweden. So,
and I missed what we're talking about. Who is it we're talking about?
Viking.
Viking. Yes.
The Vikings are in the parliament. No, the racist parties.
Oh, are they? Shame. Yeah. It feels like that's getting more and more acceptable. These racist parties.
Yeah.
You've got the issues in France where the far right party is gaining so much ground. You've got in the UK the Brexit party. It's just really alarming stuff. Yeah,
it's the third largest party here in Sweden.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's really bad.
And David Watkins came on the chat and he said that Skodas are horrible cars and anyone who owns one is an idiot. So that's interesting.
No, he's saying yes. Skodas were a joke when we were kids,
and I just paraphrased. I took a little.
But they were absolutely terrible. But then eventually Volkswagen bought them, and they turned. They are just Volkswagens now. They're not
Skodas and Ladas, weren't they?
Skodas and Ladas, yeah.
Yeah. Why does Skoda have heated rear windows?
So your hands are warm when you're pushing it.
Yep, that's it.
What do you call a Skoda with a sunroof?
A skip.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. So skip's a trash thing. Do you have?
Oh yeah. No, I was gonna say you might not have a skip. It's like a big, massive metal bucket that gets delivered at your house that you can put all the junk in.
No.
Have it taken away.
No. So that's fine. Yeah. Well, I am. What do you call a Skoda handbook? A bus timetable. Very good.
I've never heard that one. That's a good one.
Yes, I'm not really a car snob at all in the slightest. So it doesn't bother me at all. That kind of thing. But I think what people say as soon as you say Skoda, people go, "Oh, they're actually quite good cars." So they've done a very good job of rehabilitating themselves.
Yeah.
Well, Volkswagen are good cars. I loved my Volkswagen, other than I couldn't keep it, but I did like it.
Yeah, it's reliability I'm going for, and I can't afford a Volvo, so it's Skoda I'm going for.
Ironically, I believe I've never done this study, but I think my father told me this. Skoda had a kind of two turnarounds in their history because they obviously became the joke Skoda that we knew them as. And then came obviously the Volkswagen to where they are now. They were at one point, I believe, they came from a company that was a real massive luxury and was up there with like Rolls Royce.
Really?
Called, I think it was like Hispana Suiza or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, and then I think somewhere in I presume the Soviet era is when
it was the Soviet era. I mean, that was a joke, wasn't it? Because it was a Soviet car.
It was, yes. It was like the Trabant. Basically, it was a Soviet car. Yeah, it was just a car for the people. So it was like if it is true that it's definitely a weird history that the Skoda company has had.
Because I wonder
So
what.
I've got a car question for you, gentlemen.
Yep, that's what we're.
Yes, that's what this is about. Are any of you familiar with the Yugo?
Yes,
Yes.
a Fiat Yugo.
Now, see, I don't know, because here in the States, there was a brief period where the Yugos were everywhere because they were literally the cheapest new car you could buy. And
here it was a small, a little hatchback, and it was a
Yep.
Fiat. Yeah.
Okay, so
Very
square
little thing.
Yeah, it was. That's what it was here. Just a little hatchback square, and it was again the cheapest car you could buy new. And they basically were disposable cars. I mean, like you couldn't really fix them. They were you never saw Fiats on the road, or not Fiats, Yugos on the road after. I didn't know if that was a U.S. thing because I obviously they were from Yugoslavia.
Hang on. No, sorry. Yes, it wasn't a Fiat. But it looked just like the original.
It looked like a Fiat. Yes, it did.
But yes, we did have them. Yes, certainly.
Okay, so did you have? Was it a similar issue over there where they weren't?
Yeah, it was just an absolute piece of crap. It was up there. It was basically put in the whole Lada Skoda range of crap car.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a US thing or not.
You had.
I don't think there were any in Sweden actually.
What's a Swedish car company?
Saab, right?
And Volvo.
Saab and Volvo. Yeah.
Well, you see, you've still got ours have died. All our manufacturing has died.
Yeah, you don't have any UK cars anymore, right?
Yeah, there's a few left, but no, basically no.
It's not big ones, though, are they?
Also Koenigsegg.
Not main manufacturers. I mean, all of our ones are either owned by Ford or Tata or they're all gone. But all we have is like some weird little ones like Morgan and
luxury weird kit cars.
Who is it? Is it MT, GT,
MG?
MG? Are those still made?
Well, they are made again now. Yes, China make MGs.
Aston Martin? Are those made?
I believe they're still owned by Ford. Aston Martins are still awesome cars. Yeah, they still make amazing supercars. Yeah, but they're.
I'm trying here. I'm trying to think of British cars.
I mean, Rover was our big brand.
And that's Ford now.
Yeah. Depressing.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a Land Rover, a proper old Land Rover, like fans drive rather than the ones. They've always appealed.
The new ones are trash. They're very expensive, but not good.
Yes, they are very, very unreliable. Yeah.
A proper Land Rover, like what a farmer would drive. Yeah,
sheep herding vehicle.
You see a lot of them around here.
I'm sure you. Yeah.
What about the Renault Le Car? Any fond memories of the Renault Le Car?
Renault, that's not a car that rings a bell.
Renault, he's talking about.
Oh, the you did.
It was actually we had it was the only Renault that I was familiar with. I guess there were others, but the Le Car was another one.
No way.
Oh, I'm not kidding you. Yeah, you Google it. LECAR. It was around in the 60s or maybe 70s in the United States, and it was another one of those little cars, and it was like a big thing for a while, and then they never lasted very long.
That's what I'm getting rid of is my Renault Scenic because it's just so unreliable. It's just cost me thousands and thousands of pounds after thousands of pounds, and so that's why we're downgrading to a tiny little car from a very big car, which is going to be a big jolt for our family, but it's all we can afford at the moment. But yeah. So, Mark,
okay, I'm getting a picture.
What car do you drive, Marcus? I'm going to say it's a Volvo.
Yeah, I actually don't even have a driver's license.
Oh, do you not?
No, but the family owns a car. We have a Citroen. How do you say that in English?
I drive a Citroen.
C4.
Oh, I have the older version of that.
Yeah.
And
Why do you not have a license?
Well, I used to live in a really small town, so I used to ride my bike everywhere or take the bus. And here in Gothenburg, we have really good public transport, so I use that all the time, basically. Since we had our kid, I've been studying to actually get it because I haven't gotten it yet because I can't practice as much as I would like.
This is disgusting. You can't put a picture into the chat?
No, you can't. No.
That's ridiculous. I was going to put a picture of a lake car. Oh, well. I'm going to put it on a Facebook group with no context at all.
Yeah. Just put it there. Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
So is it your partner? Sorry, does she drive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're just...
I think he's getting pretty tired of always driving. Me being like in the back seat, like, yes, drive me. So that's why I need to take that driver's license. But it's a time consuming.
Yeah. My wife tends to drive when we go somewhere together, but it is useful to be able to drive.
Yeah, definitely.
But what can you do? What can you do? Oh man,
I did take like lessons last summer, but I didn't finish it. And my next step was to practice at home, but I don't really have the opportunities to do that.
Yeah, I've got a friend who passed when he was 18, and then has never driven again since. So theoretically, he's got a driving license. But I mean, he's not irresponsible enough to just get in a car and drive, you know.
But he could.
But he could.
Yeah.
And you know, he's only ever had lessons in the instructor's vehicle, so it's not like he had lots of practice either. You know, he just did the bare minimum to pass, like we all did when we passed. Then you learn how to drive later, don't you? When driving out.
My instructor always said, "I'm teaching you how to pass your test. I'm not teaching you how to drive."
Yeah.
You could figure it out afterwards, you know, and that's so true.
So Matthew Jude is back on, and he is inviting me on a date to play some games. And Matthew, you are on, sir. You are on.
Trust me, I did it on Monday, Mike. It's not as good as it sounds. It's a bit shit, if I'm honest.
He starts sulking when he starts losing.
No, that was.
That wasn't me. Did I sulk?
Probably. I'm playing the odds.
I'm not a very good loser, it must be said.
Me and Matthew were both sat there for the first 5 turns of Orleans going, basically, this is shit.
Matthew,
we both got screwed in exactly the same way in exactly the same turn. In the third turn, we essentially didn't have a turn. Yeah. So us being the inexperienced Orleans player, we're just sat there going, well, this is a bit shit, isn't it? Where the two expert Orleans were just like, oh, this is amazing. I love this bloody game. Well, what have I got in my bag? Fucking Michael.
Yeah, I haven't decided how I feel about that game yet.
I really
liked it. By the end of it, I liked it.
I like it as well.
I was a bit tired when we were playing it, and but I could definitely. I won't bother buying it. I don't need to own it, but I would happily play it again. And
it's no Architects of the West Kingdom, right, Mike?
I'm sorry.
It's no Architects of the West Kingdom, right?
No, it is absolutely not Architects of the West Kingdom.
According to Isaac Shalev, you've got the incorrect opinion there. So
Isaac is wrong. And just because he wrote a book about games doesn't mean he's right about that. I'll tell you that. Yeah. No, I look. What his arguments against it, I guess, were interesting. But I will answer this in a way that is respectful to him because I mean it to be. I get the impression that there are people that are much more knowledgeable about games and play them in a very different way than I do. Most often when I'm playing a game, I'm not sitting there trying to break it. I'm not trying to find the flaws. I'm not trying to find all of the interconnecting. I play games with certain people that by the end of the first turn, figured out how the game works. And they're just going to get their efficiency engine going to get them there. That's not me. I'm not that good at games, quite honestly. And so certain games just click for me. I mean, is it the most mechanically sound or innovative game? Probably not, but I like it. You know what I mean? So I can't even argue with what his complaints were because they're probably right, but not for me. For me, it's a really good game. So
it sounds like, I mean, ultimately his complaints were that he feels that they're not confrontational enough. That's what it boils down to.
And that I don't care. I don't particularly look for confrontation unless I'm playing a game whose point is confrontation. You know, Rising Sun, Blood Rage, yeah, those are confrontational games. So, but I don't look for that in my Euros.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a bit. I don't know.
It's taken a weird turn.
Hmm?
I said yes, David. It's taken a weird turn.
Yeah, we're talking about games.
Yeah. Well, Mike went a bit funny then for me. I don't know if he went funny for everyone else.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit. I got the gist
Oh,
of
did I? Sorry.
No, you are not forgiven, Mike and Michael. You are a disgrace.
I know.
How anybody painting it? It's taking me forever to do these.
Marcus, have you been painting lately? You were doing some painting last time you came on.
Yeah. Well, I finished 2 groups of tugs, and this is about how far I've got with the next group.
Primed and ready.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't have the energy on weekdays. It's like we put our daughter to bed, and then it's like, yeah, I'm going to bed soon, and then I'd like to paint, but I don't have the energy, I think.
Do you have to get your painting stuff out? Is it put away?
Yeah, mostly, yeah, because I paint it at the same table where we play. So if we play the game, I put it away, and then I have to bring it all out. So that's part of it, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong, but that is it.
It is
When I used to have to get my paints out, I definitely painted less because the act of having to do that is
that's a big part of it for sure.
Yeah. Whereas now I just come upstairs and start, which is why I haven't painted much recently because I've been doing my terrain, and that's been taking up the entire room, in fact, several rooms.
Most of your sanity.
Yeah, and most of my sanity. I definitely haven't been. I don't, as I say, I don't know if it's been just my state of mind recently, or if it's just the fact don't like doing terrain as much as I like doing miniatures.
I think you probably don't, because you are, like we said, there's a bit of instant reward there that you see.
Yeah, and also when you want to move on to something else, you don't have to walk over there and go outside and spray it and dry it and do all this kind of stuff. It's just boom. Although I am proud of some of my little.
They look great. You should be proud of it. Well, I don't like saying that to you, but
yeah, I'll show you what I'm doing next. Project is going to be. I might not be able to show you. Oh, this stinks of glue.
Oh, I see. They're having a little side conversation. We're not good enough. He's
Mike and Matthew.
Buddy's turned up and he's all like, "Oh, yes, Matthew, he's so dreamy."
Look.
What?
Hang on, look at this.
Did you make them?
No, they bought them. But do you know what they're going to be?
They're like furrows in a field.
It's a vegetable garden.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm going to make a vegetable garden.
Are you making that for Mr. Cabbagehead's garden?
No, but it's got the same kind of my entire scenery is going to have the same kind of aesthetic as Mr. Cabbagehead's garden. It's that Victorian, Edwardian, middle class, rural theme.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is what I would do if I was making model trains. I've always wanted to make a model train of various locations in P.G. Wodehouse novels.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to do that actually, but I'm never going to do it because I'm never going to afford it.
You're very mean. Mean man.
He is mean. Look at him being unpleasant in the comments.
I'm just glad my wife was here to be able to read that, so to show me what it is. It's not fair to put stuff in the chat and I can't read it just because I can't read. That's not right.
I'm going to have to go to bed soon, guys, because I'm knackered.
I am. What do you call me, Dan? What am I?
Knobhead?
No, a groupie. I'm the groupie, Matthew. Yeah. I'm just not your bloody groupie. Last time I shared anything about that,
have you heard Death by Monsters, Marcus? Sorry,
absolute load of wank. Don't listen to it.
Have you heard Death by Monsters?
Oh yeah, for sure. I love it. It's great.
It is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You are right. It's bloody good.
It's better than anything he's done before. I've got a barn owl outside my house as well. Do you have barn owls in America?
Yes, we do. Strangely enough, they live in barns.
Ironically, I've never seen one near a barn.
No, I don't.
Yeah, fields and ditches.
Yeah, I I assume that we have barn owls. I'm pretty sure that
They make
that
horrible screeching sounds.
yeah. We've
As
got
do
those.
most owls, to be fair.
True enough.
Oh yeah, we have them in Sweden as well. It's called a tornugla.
Oh, what does that mean?
Barn owl, you
Tower owl, basically.
Tower owl.
Yeah.
Lives in-
Tower owl. I
They're
love barn
fancy here in Sweden. Live in towers instead of barns, I guess.
and foxes sound like someone's being murdered.
Oh, foxes are horrific.
Oh, yeah.
Horrific. Yeah.
Horrific in what way?
It's like screaming.
It's
It's
like-
like
It's like a woman being murdered outside you. If you're not don't know what one sounds like, and then suddenly
just Google it, Mike. Google the noise for foxes calling, because it is a horrific noise. And where I live, and probably where Dan lives, when it's fairly rural, when it gets to mating season, you step outside, you'll just hear it in the back. It's a really weird noise. It's hard to describe because it is like a woman screaming, but it's quite short and sharp. It's not a long, continuous.
being quickly murdered.
But in a high pitch.
Being quickly murdered.
Yeah,
And I like,
quickly murdered.
I like
times.
That's it. So, are you working tomorrow, Mark? Oh no, it's Saturday, isn't it?
Yep.
Saturday.
That's why I'm still up. Otherwise, I've been to bed a long time ago.
Yeah, there's no.
I started to feel my medication. I'm getting a bit drowsy. I think I should go to bed soon.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go to bed soon as well. I'm just going to finish off a few hands and then I'm done. I've just all of this base coasted here, so I do. Well, not that anyone ever watches anyway, but it's not been exciting. Let me put that.
The bit when you got on your high horse about Matteo was pretty good.
Let's see. Are you onto yours? Have you done it? So let's have a look at your second one. What are you doing?
Little mouse nun.
Mouse nun. Is she just going to be? Have you got stats for her, or is she just going to be a nice
Like a wizard. Little
wizard?
witch. No night, Matthew. Safe travel.
Matthew.
Sunday.
Journey to Dice Tower. I am feeling a little bit jealous about people going.
I'm very bloody jealous.
I'm getting so jealous when I see pictures of you playing together.
What'd you say, Marcus?
I said I'm getting jealous when I see pictures of you playing together. I like to play with you guys. I think that's fun.
Oh, to make it happen, we definitely need to make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, we could make it happen.
If Marcus would go to Gearstones,
I might invite him. Oh,
It's a question about money, I think.
Yeah. It's a journey, and it's not getting there. I've only got so many people I can get to the place from an airport as well. I'm starting to get a bit.
I feel bad that you're
Not for you, Mike, but for other people as well. It's just I need to organise lifts for various people. Not that Marcus wouldn't be
What
well.
do you think you have to organise lifts for various people? Why?
Because that's the kind of person I am.
Well, they're not adults.
I worry about stuff.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, well,
We'll sort it out in the future. We'll play sometime, I hope.
yes, we will. I'll no doubt be in Essen again. I'm thinking about coming to Essen next year, to be honest.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's definitely on my bucket list. I'll get there one of these years.
David, you must go to a convention if you've never been to one.
Yeah, even just a local convention. He says he lives in Openshaw, UK. I don't know where that is.
Where? Sorry, where?
Openshaw?
I don't know where Openshaw is either.
No, let's
Never heard.
look it up. Give us
That
your postcode.
sounds like a convention hall.
Openshaw.
Openshaw, UK. I've never ever heard of it.
What's your postcode, Dave?
Can you give us a Google Map photo? Of...
Yeah, that's it. I want to look stalk his house. Me and Lee did that once. Someone sent us something.
Manchester. We'll go to Aircon then.
Isn't he around? Go to StabCon. Have you heard of StabCon?
It doesn't sound very nice.
StabCon?
Yeah.
You just love stabbing people? This is ridiculous.
People that sound like a fox's mating call everywhere.
STAB, StabCon.
Ah, okay.
Stab, as in stab with a knife. It used to be.
That's what we assumed, but
That's what I thought, yeah.
It used to be a diplomacy convention, and then it broadened to.
Oh yeah, that explains it.
But interestingly enough, the hotel that it's held in 3 weeks after the convention was there, they had an incident when a man shot a woman in the vagina with a pistol during elaborate sex games that went wrong. So StabCon is a really weird convention in that it's semi-secret because the hotel it's held in can't hold any more people, so they never bother advertising it. So it's the same people that go. It's twice a year. It's
to be fair, you don't need to advertise if you call it StabCon. You're going to get people just based off of the name.
They changed the name. Changed it. StabCon. Nobody will fucking turn up then.
I'm really selling it. Yeah, it's not the nicest hotel in the world. It's very cheap though, so I like it. I even stay overnight there. It's Manchester, and I don't live that far away because it's so cheap to stay there.
BedbugCon.
Yeah, it's and this isn't meant to be a detriment to anybody. It's that I'm not saying this in a negative way, but it's where the council will house a lot of homeless people or refugees and things like that as a B&B. So for temporary housing for people who've got housing issues. So they pay. So that's how cheap it is. But it's good. StabCon's good. It's where in Manchester. I think it's Stockport, but I could be wrong. It's the only downside to it is if it's your first one, then you're best off knowing people who go. I don't go anymore because I don't know why.
If they don't like you.
Yeah, and my friend Bod goes, and my friend Luke Harrison goes. So Bod, who's occasionally mentioned on the podcast, he goes to it. But there's also the Bolton All Dayer. You should go to a Bolton All Day. Well, thank you very much, David. You go to the Bolton All Dayer. They do their thing, and you can come to one of our Rose and Crowns game day if you want to. That's over in Slough, in Slathwaite. That's not that far from Manchester. Next time there is one, I'll try and remember to let you know about it, David. I don't know when the next one will be, but it's a Noble Order of Huddersfield Board Gamers Games Day, so you're more than welcome to come to that. So there you go. But Aircon you should come to. Anyone else need any con advice? Do you want me to tell you what cons to go to, Mike?
Yeah, how was ShivCon or ShankCon? I've heard a little bit about that.
Speaking about shivs and shanks,
I found the Garrote gathering was a very good one.
The gathering of the Garrote.
I don't know if it's Stockport. I can't remember. I think it's Stockport. My friend Lee, we all know my friend Lee Sargent, who I do a podcast with.
Who should just be always known as Lee effing Sargent.
Yeah. He's Australian. That's how they speak.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. He is doing a board game Kickstarter, much to my
no way.
He is.
Is he really doing that Monopoly thing that he was talking about?
He's doing an expansion to Monopoly.
No way, the jail.
Yeah.
He's doing the jail thing.
Yeah, he's stuff like that. I was recording a podcast with him on Thursday, and he was telling me all about the rules. I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god, you're going to want me to promote this, aren't you?" I'm like entire standing within.
We'll have to have him on the podcast, and this is not going to be pretty.
Yeah. He's well aware it's a joke.
Why hasn't he been on the podcast yet?
Sorry?
Why hasn't he been on the podcast
timing.
Yet?
It's very,
very
difficult.
That's true. Yeah, Indiana and Huddersfield, and yeah, that's under East Australia. Yeah,
it's just very difficult to find a time we can record. He's going to be on. I don't know what we're going to talk to him about, but he wants to come on, so we'll put him on. Yeah, Matthew's going to review it if we pay him enough, so that's good. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's just really amused me. He's right into it as well.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
I mean, he knows it's a joke, sort of, but you know when. Right. Yeah. Anyway,
so secretly he's going to make millions.
Obviously. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So listen to that. I need to send him the file. He's going to edit this one, but yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. He
just needs to put in a few plastic minutes, and he'll get millions for that. That's the way to do it, I think.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's talking about you get a special bag to put things in. Oh, he's well away. He's well away. He was showing me all the prototype cards. It's like, oh, great, that's really good, Lee.
Well, I can already imagine. I can already picture in my brain what Matthew's review of this is going to be. So here's how I think it's going to lead. Right? Have you ever thought to yourself while you're playing Monopoly, you know what this needs? More time in jail. There you go. Matthew, that was a horrendous impression of you.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
And now that's you've got something to work with there. You can turn it into, basically how the best part of Monopoly is spending time in jail, and now you can have an even greater experience, right?
He's got some. Other than the fact it's Monopoly, he's got some interesting ideas for it. In that one person could be the banker, like normal, and another person could be the jailer. And then you can bribe the jailer to get out a free card. But then if they reach a certain point before this time, the jailer goes to jail for corruption. And it's all it's very intricate. He's done no play testing. And
well, obviously.
And it's not a good game, but it's very interesting what he's what.
But I mean, in game theory, the jail in Monopoly is pretty interesting because at the start of the game, or for most of the game, you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, you want to be there because you want to avoid stepping on people's streets.
Yes.
Right. So it changes.
That's true.
During the game, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Maybe you could be on board as a co-designer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right, I am going to have to say goodnight, guys, because I am.
Yeah.
And
I finished my nun, little mouse nun.
So you finished 2.
What?
Yeah,
you're so fast. I can't believe.
Yeah,
It was lovely talking to you, Dan. I've got nothing else to say, so Sunday I think we're just going to have to cancel. Okay.
That's always the risk, isn't it? We shouldn't. Yeah,
you got all my good stuff today.
No, I've got a good story about Cora's choir concert.
Oh, yeah. I got the digest version, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So that's fine. Right. Okay. Thank you very much for
nice talking to you guys.
Thank you, everybody. Lovely to talk to you, man.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Marcus.
And we will see. I don't know. I don't even know how to get off this thing.
Take us all off, Dan. That's your favorite part.
No, I wouldn't do that.
That's the Sunday hangout thing. That's the other show.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
Well, I'm gonna hang up. Good night, guys.
All the best, Mike. Nice to see you.
Hey, Mike. Sorry. He's gone. I can off.
I'll say
bye, Marcus. And you get out. Get out. It's just me now. Just me. I can say whatever I want. Matteo is back here with his name, and I think we can all agree that the conclusion to this video is that that Matteo's name is Matteo, and it's not a different name for Matthew. I'm very glad if there's any dissent amongst anyone here about that. Can we all agree that it is bumpkiss to say that names are translations for other names? Anyone disagree? No. Excellent. Fantastic. We're all in agreement there. And so we can end this broadcast with a smile on our face.